that, we tell all the teams this, that, this group of mentors that you see, whether it's Mr. Rocky DeTomo, Miss Jenny Thompson, or all the other mentors, we're all really passionate about this. And we like to say we have our most experienced mentor, Mr. Forrest. He's also our youngest at heart mentor, and his enthusiasm shows through all the time. And I think it's fantastic to get that to the next generation, that, this is a fun business to be in. We want to be in it as long. Who would retire from this business? It's so much fun. Of course, Mr. Forrest, multiple careers. Like we say, he loves it so much he can never give up.
Retired from 2 companies, maybe 3 projects, and very interested in this Evolve program.
Yeah, and he's now in his 4th career. Evolve is his 4th career. Mr. Laguros, who was a mentor last year, was sitting at the executive table here. He tried to retire, but fortunately, we dissuaded him from that. He now works for IHS. He was at Marathon many years. Of course, Mr. Rocky DeTomo at the very founding of Evolve in 2014.
Yep.
Many years at Shell, has done many things.
Yep. It took some years of convincing people that we could do this and that it was important. So it's really exciting to see where we've come.
Miss Jenny Thompson, 10 years at Tenneco, and she corrected me yesterday, 26 years at ConocoPhillips, not 25. And there's a DSG, a workstation power user. And by the way, for our board members, this is not a teaching course. A lot of this is hands-on. We're literally telling them how to use Kingdom, how to use Petrel, how to use DSG. And Miss Jenny is one of our most powerful users of DSG. Mr. Gordon Holmes, recent chief geophysicist or geophysical manager at Noble Energy, at Houston Energy, many years of experience, expert in, I'm going to say, amplitudes, AVO in the Gulf of Mexico, and other things. And Mr. Scott King, who's began with BP and smaller companies like Texcon, but he's a business person. He has raised money. So he has been part of two small companies, one of which went public. And again, Evolve, we teach business too. It's not just technical, waveless are nice and deconvolution, but we teach them how to make money. That's what it's about. I think what we gave you today would probably take you 4 or 5 years to get all that learning in your career. Maybe anyone else want to comment on that?
It took me 10.
Took me 10, there you go.
Hi everyone, my name is Flavia Lima and I'm here to talk about my experience in Evolve 2019 as part of Perugia University team. As a student with no previous experience in the oil and gas industry, Evolve was extremely enriched and also very challenging. It was my first time working in such a complete project as part of a multidisciplinary team. So we had geophysicists, geologists, petrophysicists, engineers, everyone with different backgrounds, but working together with the same aim, which was to identify the best investment opportunity in our assigned area in Gulf of Mexico. So it really felt like we were part of a company inside a company, working together, learning together, sharing knowledges and creating our own workflow. And actually that's why I say Evolve is such a complete project, because you're part of the experience since the beginning, since bibliography, learning your regional geology, receiving your data, your real data, and passing through seismic interpretation, well log interpretation, production data, and creating your maps in time and depth, ranking your prospects, and finally the economics, risking, and volumetrics analysis. So I don't know about a more complete experience that you can have as a student. And as my role in the team, I am a geologist, but I was working mainly with the volumetrics, economics, and risking analysis. So it was very challenging as it was something completely new for me, but it's always great to learn something new, so I really like it. And also because I could see how the teamwork, every part of the work are linked together in order to complete this next stage of the work. So I strongly recommend you to participate. You will learn a lot. You will develop many skills. You will make mistakes, but you learn from them. And you also meet new people. You meet people with different backgrounds, different nationalities, and it will be amazing as it was for me.
I would like to welcome everybody. I think the program even became more important in order to get this multidisciplinary type of learning and integration going, which could be the main big advantage here, linking and getting people together to learn and at the same time innovate in a collaborative way. You guys have made me proud, and also everybody else in SEG.
I feel very hopeful, as one of the previous speakers said, that this might be the way we have to work for some time, and you guys are nailing it.
And in terms of bringing together, let's say this multidisciplinary approach, and also this, collaborative support to one another, right, that they have displayed actually today, and also working with other teams in other parts of the world, because this is the reality of our industry, is also leveraging, the global footprint and leveraging, the worldwide knowledge to be able to also help address, local challenges and local specificities.
It is definitely one of the hardest things that you can do as you come out into the workforce is show that you can work with a multitude of different people. I think Kareem had talked about diversity. It's definitely proven here that you guys have worked within various different groups, and especially the collaboration with the Russians. I think that's a very challenging thing to do whenever not necessarily in competition, but you're in conversation with other groups. Everybody wins whenever you open and you work together, and I think you guys proved that.
Okay, good morning. My name is Francisco Ortigosa. I'm the Director for Innovation and Technology. I have been during 15 years the Director of Geophysics for the company, but now I'm in this role of the technology. I have been 30 years in Repsol, and I'm very glad to know that this team has been collaborating in the cloud, because this is the future, is the trend. And I think that even more with the current circumstances that are happening in the world is the way to go. So it's very good that the fearless explorers are really at the edge of the activity.
When you look at also in Egypt, and we're the team really made us proud when we talk about His Excellency the Minister of Petroleum here. Putting a lot of focus, on the future pool of leaders, right, for the oil and gas sector. So I think the team here today showed us actually that we have nothing to worry. That the talent is here, the talent is live.
Because this, in my opinion, is the best program that the SEG has ever run in terms of impact on the clients and impact on education of the future integrated G&G and reservoir engineering staff that's going to be required in the future.
So really, it's fantastic to see the passion and really what the SEG has contributed, and the continuous engagement, right, with the students. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today, and you have also gained a very also passionate, mentor for the future and support, right, for the SEG and for the students and for these activities to help really build a future pool of talent, right, for the industry, not only in Egypt, but worldwide.
Fantastic program. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Alan, for all the hard work that you have been putting. That's real efforts with all those teams. It needs lots of passion, and also, lots of knowledge and ability to lead those teams.
I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's great for this time. COVID can't stop it. I think that's fabulous. So congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
So SEG Evolve program actually focuses on developing the fearless explorers of tomorrow. And they do this by putting students in multidisciplinary teams, making the job experience real to us. And over the years, more than 300 students from over 40 countries have participated in Evolve, and we are glad that this year our team was selected at University of Science and Technology of China to participate. We became the first team to participate and involve in China. In the team, I was the team geophysicist and also the team lead. We focused on integrated characterization and prospect evaluation of East Cameron Block, offshore Louisiana in the United States. And the goal was for us to identify the best investment opportunity in the East Cameron Block. So I will walk you through my contribution in the team towards us achieving this great feat. As the team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alan Bertain, Technical Coordinator of SEG Evolve, and welcome to our recognition and celebration event for Evolve 2020. We kicked this thing off January 1st. It's been a long ride, a very enjoyable one. And today we're here to really share some of the great work that the students have done, recognize some of it, and most importantly, have a bit of fun at this point. So thank you for those of us who are joining us. And I think what I will do here is I will turn it over to Ms. Linda Ford, Director at SEG. She'll welcome you, and then I think she has a couple of slides she wants to talk about. So.
Right. Thank you, Alan. I'm Linda Ford. I'm Managing Director of SEG Programs. And this morning, I just want to thank you, first of all of you student team participants for the hard work that you put in this year to conduct your Evolve projects, all the learning that you've done. That's such a promising sign for the future of applied geophysics, for your engagement with SEG, and we're really proud of you for what you've accomplished. Alan, if you don't mind going ahead and bringing up the slides. A program like it is very dependent on the many supporters that we have that make it possible. And I want to take a few minutes to say thanks to those who have made Evolve a possibility for us. First of all, foremost, Alan and Mario, Jesus, Mike Forrest, and all of our mentors who have worked with the students on their projects throughout this year need our high gratitude for the support that they've provided. That kind of learning doesn't happen without the willingness of mentors and others to teach you. And so we're especially grateful to them for the work that they've done to make Evolve a possibility, for your learning a possibility. In addition to that, while Alan continues to move slides.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Corporate sponsors who have provided us either with some funding. Mr. Mike Forrest, for one, has supported it, his finances in addition to his time, as you all are very well aware. But we want to thank Halliburton for making Evolve something that was an idea, helped us turn it into a reality a few years ago. We're especially grateful to them for helping us get it launched. In addition, we are grateful for iEnergy, Schlumberger, IHS Markit, IHRDC, Rose and Associates, BRT, Geophysical Insights, Inveris, AASPI, and of course Mike Forrest for the support that they've provided, in-kind support or financial support, because that we have a program because of the kind of support that they provide. As you're aware, we've just completed our SEG annual meeting, and in order for us to have something related to Evolve, to put it in a platform where people could see what your work was this year and to learn more about the program, we had to have some support from Aramco, Chevron, and Oxy to make it possible for us to have that platform. And we're really grateful to them for that as well. Now, as we turn, you're going to have some opportunity to celebrate the work that you've done and to recognize some people for the special accomplishments that they've made. And then we're going to turn our sights toward 2021. And I want to let you all know that you may be aware that Andrew Geary is no longer working with SEG, but we have provided some great support in the person of Catherine Elkins. I know many of you probably already know who Catherine is from her great efforts to support student chapters, to work with the SLS program and the SEP program, among many other things. So I feel very confident that the transition in SEG staff will be very smooth and that you're going to get capable, great attention from Catherine. Catherine, did you want to say a couple of words to the folks?
Sure. Good day, everybody. I'm happy to be part of this program. I was watching a lot of your presentations, and for some of it went over my head. I don't speak that language, but it was amazing to watch the collaboration that you all do together and the dedication with this program, and just spending your time above what you do at home and what your coursework is. Maybe you have jobs and you're still putting this effort into this great program. And I hope you will continue with it and promote it as well with other students, and even possibly later on in the Evolve Pro edition. It was, getting on here this morning and just seeing all your faces, and I know so many of you guys, and it's just wonderful to see you continuing with SEG programs. And that's the great thing about something like Evolve and all our other student programs, is that this is a way of networking and getting more and more to know each other, and you continue to grow within SEG even as professionals. And I wish you all luck with the rest of the year, and stay healthy, and I look forward to continuing to working with you all. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Catherine. And actually, what you don't know is that I had kind of my sights set on you becoming part of Evolve even last year, because I saw your picture. I think, I don't know what the event was, maybe SLS, where you were standing in, or sitting in the middle, and then you had all the students wrapped around you, kind of like a flower, right? The whirl of a flower. And I said, we need to get her involved with Evolve, because I think she could help us out. She's obviously passionate about the students. And so thanks for stepping in here to fill in for Andrew Geary. And by the way, I did send Andrew Geary an invite. Maybe he's watching. If you are, thank you, Andrew. Look forward to working with you on some other things. Okay, so anyway, that's the welcome from SEG. So we have quite a bit of ground to cover here. So a big part of it this morning is actually you, the students, are going to be in the hot seat. So very shortly, we've kind of opened it up for anyone to ask you questions. But I'll open it up with a few general comments. We almost always have some new people who participate in our event, so I always go through just at least a few minutes summary of what Evolve is for those who aren't familiar with it. And then I think I'll share a few comments about the year, high level, and then Mr. Forrest will share a few. So again, for those of you who have not had the opportunity to be part of Evolve, Evolve is a 6+ month part-time virtual internship. And I say 6+ because here we are month 10 of the year, and many of these teams, even though you officially finished in June, we've been working with you on all sorts of things, getting, of course, your September 1st videos ready for the annual meeting, etc. So really it's 6 to 10 months, depending. And what we emphasize is the skills to be successful in multidisciplinary, real-world, digital E&P settings. That's what you're going to need as you go into your careers, whether they're oil and gas, whether they're carbon sequestration, whether they're groundwater, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later. And so we have, of course, the key to Evolve, extensive mentoring by highly experienced industry experts. And here's the key: it's collaborative and it's inclusive. And I think you've all enjoyed working together across nations, across languages, across cultures. That's what Evolve is all about. So just to remind those who are watching, maybe for the first time, what are we trying to do with these students? We're trying to make them the fearless explorers of the future. And what that means is these students have to be able to go into any basin, any structural style, any amount and type of data. We tell them, don't complain if you got 2D data. You know, I know you want nice, shiny 3D, but you know what? Sometimes in the real world, you're going to just have to work 2D. And sometimes you may not even get the 2D, but anyway. And of course, any language, any cultural setting, any business objective. So that's a tall order. And of course, we can't do that just in 6 months, but we start them on that journey. We have data sets now from all over the world. I believe we're up to 15 multidisciplinary data sets. I mean, these are just a few quick examples, whether it's Gulf of Mexico, New Zealand. And we give these students an exercise that would be tough for someone with 20 years of experience, in fact, 40 years of experience. And I know because I have to go through this exercise. Whenever a client sends me a new data set, I have to do what these students do. And so we tell them, you have to find the best investment opportunity in your digital data set. I mean, that's a tall order. Think about it for yourself. If the only thing you received was a SegWi file in LAS, could you create value from that? Literally, you as an individual. I'm not saying I'm a manager, I got 50 people working for me, and I'm going to give it to them. Could you create the value? That's what we teach the students to do. So this is our third year of what we call Evolve version 2. We did have a pilot in 2015 where we kind of learned and adjusted. And so as a result of our learnings, we've had 3 years of new phase. So we've, in this new phase, 55 plus teams from all over the world, over 300 students from over 35 countries. You see those gray areas, those are the countries that have not participated in Evolve, and we're going to be targeting those in 2021. We want that whole globe to be green as soon as possible. So as few as the Evolve students can help us with that, we'd appreciate it. This is our quick picture. You won't be able to see all the teams, but these are our teams for this year. So again, very diverse group from all over the world. Quite a few US teams, but we also cover the globe. And again, we emphasize modern digital workstations and workflows. This is not a bunch of lectures. It's not PowerPoint slides. It's about the workstation. It's about looking at the real data. And even young Mr. Mike Forrest gets on the workstation and uses the mouse and shows us the mistakes we're making. Us poor 40-year experienced guys, we're still learning from him. So anyway, that's the key. And again, the students know this slide, but just in case we have a few new audience members, this is key to Evolve. This is the cornerstone of our philosophy. It's going to underpin, by the way, the recognition we're going to talk about. And what we as interpreters believe is that there are many elements to successful exploration. So it does require human traits. And of course, we joke with the students. We tell them, oh, well, you're all wonderful. You all have all the human traits you need. So we're not going to talk about those. Of course, we need workstations, modern workstations. We need good workflows. We need good software delivery mechanisms. But those are not the key to successful exploration. The key to successful exploration is the critical thinking. It's building the case histories in your head. And so like a good wine, you can only get better in this business over time. And that is why someone like Mr. Forrest, who's been in it 60 years, will know more, will have more case histories than someone who's got 40, who's got more than 20, and so on. That's the nature of the business. But again, all these are the skills necessary. There is no one magic solution to successful exploration. And again, as part of this, just to show we're not just about the workstations, we emphasize drawing, cartoons. If you understand something, can you draw it for me? And the students, many of them terrified. No, I walk up to them with when I meet them in person, here's a marker. Now draw me on the whiteboard. You use some fancy words. Now draw that for me. And usually they freeze at first. But eventually, you know, we show them how we draw cartoons that capture the ideas, and then they start to do it. This is from one of last year's students. This is one of this year's students. So they learn that part. Again, the key is the sharing of knowledge, experience, and know-how. I love this slide. This is in this room right here, by the way. This is the SEG Evolve room in Houston. And this is the executive table, the moment of terror for many of these students when they have to present their best investment opportunities. And we'll sometimes have 200, 250 years experience in the room. And I'll bet you there are very few places in the industry where you can get 250 years of experience in a room, whether it's oil companies, whether it's service companies. That's what makes Evolve so unique. So that's kind of my quick introduction. So now just a few comments about this year. So like we said, this is our third year since the inception of Evolve post the pilot. So we had 25 multidisciplinary teams. These teams all have geologists, geophysicists, petrophysicists, reservoir engineers. We also ran one intern team in parallel, and we had an Evolve professional team. More about that a bit later. So we expanded this year to cover the entire globe. But first, because of time zones, and even Mr. Forrest and I can't be up 24 hours a day, but this year we got a technical coordinator in Southeast Asia, so we now cover the globe. And so this year we used a combination of the cloud, local licenses, and remote licenses to deliver data, tools, and technologies across the globe. That's what SEG Evolve achieved. Our technical reviews are similar to those in oil companies. Mr. DeTomo is here, of course, Mr. Forrest, Ms. Thompson. We are doing the same thing they do in oil companies. You guys all come show us your prospects and tell us how wonderful they are. And we look at them and we give you feedback back, but then we have to judge those. Is your pay thickness correct? Is your piece of G too optimistic, etc. So I like to say that, you know, running Evolve is like running 25 startup oil companies, or if you're in a big company, 25 business units. That is the scale of the undertaking that we have here. So anyway, Evolve brings us high quality teams. We take the best students from the SEG student chapters. Of course, those in the student chapters, they're the most active, they're the most engaged. So we have highly motivated students. And then they work here, and they've done this very well this year in this multidisciplinary way, and learning, many for the first time, how to collaborate with other people. They're used to sitting in their corners, people put water under the door and they write their theses, right? But now we teach them, you got to work with other people in real life, not just in a little room. And the good news for us in Evolve is that we had developed our approaches pre-COVID, which was virtual. We were virtual. We've been doing this for the last 3 years. This was old hat for us. So anyway, so as a result of that, we're very excited about our Evolve 2020 graduates, as we call them. It's not a university per se, but maybe some similarities. And so we believe these are some of the best available students that you can get right now, given their pedigree in their student chapters, the technologies they've been exposed to, the technical and human skills they've developed in this internship working with these great industry experts. So if you're hiring, we think you should be looking at this class of students. So I think that's my comment. So I'm going to now turn it over to Mr. Mike Forrest, and I'll stop sharing for a second and let him share his thoughts on this year.
Thank you, Alan. You hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, no slides, just all verbal here. But first of all, everybody did a great job, you know. Congratulations to all the teams. A lot of hard work, new friends. I'm sure many of you made new friends around the whole world. And while we're doing all this, we're learning, and I always like to say we learn as well as the students. We had fun. There's always a fun factor, which is very critical and to your work. That's my feeling. I like to walk away with a few kind of technical comments. So if you don't mind, I have about 4 or 5, just one sentence comments. First of all, you've already heard many of these in the last 5 months or 10 months. Geology first. You know, geology, you have to understand the regional geology and the prospect geology. And I know amplitude anomalies are critical in some areas like the Gulf of Mexico. That would be a whole new chapter almost in this program. But geology first. And you have to integrate geology with geophysics and engineering. And that's teamwork. And by the way, there's a lot of teamwork went on this year, and we thank you for doing that. Also, you learn how to solve problems, and you learn how to do critical thinking. You know, Alan always mentions that in his little diagram, critical thinking. But risk analysis and economics, let's talk about that for a second. You know, we have our 5 risk factors, and in addition, you have to then do a final piece of G and do economic analysis. But think about it, you know, the energy business is changing. We're going into more wind, solar, geothermal, carbon capture, I think is going to be very important. But risk analysis and economics are going to play a factor in every one of those energy sources. And so what you learn now, it won't be the 5 risk factors that we take, like source rock and seal, but the risk will always be a factor in everything. And companies want to make a profit, want to make money. So there'll be a lot of balancing act in the next few years. Now, oil and gas, in my view, is going to stay around a long time. Maybe less oil and more gas. I think gas has a real long-term future. But I think, but we are definitely changing into more renewable energy sources of energy, and the risk and economics will play a major factor. So I just want to again compliment all the teams and the students, and you learned a lot and we all had fun. So thank you very much.
And I think, although they're not officially on the schedule, I'm going to offer to Mr. Rocky DeToma, who was there and played a key role in the founding of Evolve, and Miss Jenny Thompson, maybe Mr. DeToma first. Any thoughts as you look at this 5th year of Evolve and the 3rd year of version 2?
Yeah, Alan, just a very quick comment. While some of that conversation was going on, just for the heck of it, I pulled up a slide from a presentation I made 4.5 years ago about Evolve and where we were. And the slide, I'd show it, but it's not necessary. I'll just read it. But it says the vision. The vision is to deliver an experiential, real-world learning environment to students and early career professionals across the globe by facilitating and supporting multidisciplinary teams working on integrated evaluations of real-world projects. And the idea is to make graduates to be better equipped to immediately contribute upon hiring. And we're going to do that through the global delivery of project-based training, data, software, and support using the cloud infrastructure with guidance and mentoring drawn from a cross-section of recognized professional industry experts. And so I want to compliment both the students and the teams and the SEG for seeing that vision from 4.5 years ago get to the point where we are really doing it, right? So it takes time, but the vision is becoming reality. The vision was a vision that kind of gave us a glimpse of what the future would be. Unfortunately, the future came to us faster than maybe we had expected with COVID. But I think it's remarkable where we've got. You've all contributed substantially, and I like to believe that we have made a substantial contribution to your capability and your future success. And the only comment I would have going forward for the students who've done the program is, think about giving back. Think about, as your careers progress, how you're going to give back something like you received here. So thank you. That's it.
Okay, maybe Miss Jenny, very active in these 3 years and before. So go ahead and share a few comments.
First, I'd like to congratulate all of you on what you accomplished. I think you did a fantastic job, and I think you learned the whole process from the technical skills, multidisciplinary learning, and communication. I know that at times we were hard on you when we gave the feedback, but I have to tell you that I think the result of that is that you learn from your mistakes, you learn from when somebody tells you you didn't do it quite right and you have to go back and do more. You don't really always learn from the success as much as you learn from somebody giving you the feedback that you needed to do better. And as a result, I saw some great maps on those final presentations that I didn't see early on in the whole process. So it was great. And also, it's a process. Learning is like something you'll do throughout your career, I believe, and past your whole life, you're going to be learning. And so having this opportunity and continuing to learn is an important thing for you to continue as you go forward. So again, congratulations.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. So I think we'll go to a few more slides here before we have the students come up to the virtual podium, so to speak, to be grilled by our audience. So let's make sure here I get the right screen this time, hopefully. Let's see, this is share screen 1. Hopefully that's the one. Was that the right one? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's see here. Okay, well, thank you to the mentor. So actually, Mr. DeTomo was there at the very beginning, and I have who I call the founding mentor in some ways. And I actually invited her to join us today. This is Ms. Rekha Patel. And, you know, she was the person at Halliburton who was very much interested in developing this multidisciplinary collaborative learning approach. So she was at Halliburton at the time. She arranged for the initial funding to allow Evolve to be developed in conjunction between Halliburton and SEG. So she really wanted to be here today, but she had some other commitments. She recently started a new platform. This is her company, Zarathus. And she's been at several companies, but she's gone from like the larger company of Halliburton now to the world of an entrepreneur like me and some others. And I'm very much looking forward to having the chance to work with her on some different things. So anyway, she's a founding mentor. Just very quickly here, I'm just going to say mentors part one. This is more like the day-to-day running of operations, of course, myself, Mr. Forrest, Dr. Arthur Cheng, who was, well, supposed to be in Singapore at the start of this, but unfortunately he got kind of boxed in by COVID, but still functioned as the Southeast Asia technical coordinator. Of course, those teams, you worked with him quite a bit, Jenny Thompson, Mr. DeTomo, Mr. Dean Mento. Of course, on the operational basis, as you students know very well, Jesus Navarez, Mario Bainas, they're right in the thick of things every day, making sure things are working smoothly. So thank you to both of you. You've done a great job this year. We've broken, you know, new boundaries this year. So thank you very much. Of course, Mr. Andrew Geary, I hope he's watching. But for what he did these last 2 years plus this year, and of course, Ms. Catherine Elkins. Now, rather than, you know, we've had a lot of mentors help us. So many of you don't know what Project X video is. I expect the students will smile when they see that word. But we're going to list everybody in Project X on the mentors rather than having long lines of individuals here. But thank you to all of you that supported us as mentors. I put this mentors, as you know, we have our Fearless Explorer Friday talks, and we've had a series of speakers come in. I think some are here today. I know Mr. Ortigosa, who talked a few weeks ago, was going to come in today. Mr. Rocky Roden with Geophysical Insights gave us a talk on machine learning. We had Mr. Gassi from Sonatrack giving us a talk on fractals. And Mr. Chris Wojcik, ex-Shell, gave us a very interesting multidisciplinary talk on how they find oil for real in the Niger Delta, oil and gas. And next year, we've already said, anybody that walks in says, I can find oil using bright spots, I'm going to say, go spend an hour, listen to I think he's Dr. Wojcik, and you come back and show me the same work that he did. Of course, he did very detailed working with cores, logs. It's not as simple as find the little amplitude and put an X on the map. So thank you to those. As always, you know, this is a very important thing. The professors have to be engaged. The more the professors are engaged, the better the teams, usually. And so we just name a few of these professors. Some of them are back for probably the second or third year. Thank you to all of you. We have one non-professor with us here, and I see him, Mr. Terrell Dampel. I called him professor, but he's actually not a professor, but we'll call him professor in quotes. He played the same role. Thank you very much for encouraging the West Indies team. And of course, you first approached Mr. Forrest about their participation. You know, thank you for all your support. So I think that's it. So we now have what which is the students. So we're going to open it up, students, for anybody to ask you any questions about any topic. Who knows what this question is going to be about? Now, last year we began with a real procession at our annual meeting, and this is just a little blurry picture of it. Of course, we cannot have a real procession today, but courtesy of Mr. Mario Bainas, we have a virtual procession. So I'm going to stop sharing. I believe Jesus now is going to run our virtual procession analogous to last year's procession. Okay, well, thank you, Jesus. Virtual applause from everybody. So thank you so much. So there are the teams. Like we said, an excellent group of teams, multidisciplinary, many skills, many fun people in here. So we've invited quite a few people from the industry to come in. And so I think the first thing we'll do is, and I'm going to go to the chat, and I believe Mr. Bainas will feed me some questions coming because we're streaming on YouTube Live too. You'll feed me those questions, but who in the actual Amethyst room with us from the industry would like to ask some of the students questions? I see we have a distinguished group, Mr. Dean Mento, we have Ms. Anna Shaughnessy, President-elect. I'm just going through the list here, Chris Davin from HRDC and others. So who would like to ask these fearless explorers of the future a question directly in the Amethyst room?
So I'll ask a question. And as a multidisciplinary team, what did you guys learn from working with multiple disciplines in this process?
So I guess, I don't know if we should have them put their hands up or just kind of unmute when they're ready. So who wants to talk about, hopefully you learned something about multidisciplinary. So somebody better put their hand up. If not, I'll pick a team. So someone had better volunteer quickly.
Okay, I'm Silas. I was a member of the University of Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette team. I think one of the benefits of having multidisciplinary members in the team was it always helps you come out with the best kind of results. So one thing I noticed was if the geologist came up with a certain assertion regarding a prospect, it's expected that maybe the geophysicist or the petrophysicist should also come up with a similar, like say, result. So most times, whenever we had discrepancies in our results, it gave us a reason to like go back and then look at what we had. So I felt being multidisciplinary helped produce better results. If we only relied on the geologists, we wouldn't have had certain proofs from the geophysicist or the petrophysicist. And then overall, I think by the time we all came together and then shared our ideas, it was quite fascinating that we had similarities in our results and it gave us more confidence.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Who wants to volunteer here from one of the other teams? If not, I think I'll volunteer Ms. Bianca. You know, I go to the team leaders that rule with an iron fist. So Ms. Bianca is usually cracking the whip on her team. So what would you like to tell us about what it was like managing a multidisciplinary team? You had, and you were in 2 locations, by the way. This was 2 universities at different locations, Perugia, Italy, and Leoben, Austria, and they were working in the cloud. So what would you like to share of that experience, Ms. Bianca?
So hello, everyone. Yeah, it was a quite interesting experience. We learned a lot about each other. We learned that not only one opinion is the right one. So it was always great to see like from different backgrounds, different ideas. And it was challenging, but it was definitely a big learning experience. So this is what we learned, how to implement the knowledge of everyone. And even like if it's not the person's field of study, they still might come up with good ideas the other people wouldn't have thought about. So.
Okay, and maybe I'll go to our colleague, Ms. Tayuba. her university is close to, what is it, the Saudi Yacht Club. So I always see pictures of her at the yacht club. I guess you can already afford her own yacht. So give us a $10 donation when you have a bit left over from running the yacht. So Ms. Tayuba, over to you.
First of all, hello, I am from the CAUS team. As Mr. Allen explained every time that the ACG Evolve is the multidisciplinary team, so we shouldn't they sit in different rooms and do our work. We have always collaborate, discuss our work. And I can give you the examples from that. The mainly geophysicists and the geologists work on the finding the prospects. But when we start to discuss with engineering point of view, reservoir drilling challenge, some of the fields that it's really good to invest and find that has the high volume, but it has a lot of challenging in terms of the engineering to reach that prospect. And from different point of view, that there is some prospect that it has the good quality. We can see sharp contrast in the gas column, oil column, but in terms of petrophysical properties and the extraction is challenging. So from those point of view, we have to come up with the same idea, same how to say, to collaborate all our knowledge and find the best option for us.
Okay, well, thank you. And, maybe one thing I emphasize a lot is, I often say, seismic is the easy part of our work because, once you get your SegWi file into your workstation, it's relatively well behaved. It's relatively easy to use these workflows. The really hard work is the wells, whether the well's in the right place, whether the deviation survey is correct, whether your time depth functions are correct, whether your petrophysics is good. So I think with that, I'm going to turn it to Ms. Nada. And again, very active, a member of our Ain Shams team. We had many discussions and that was a very integrated team. So tell us a bit about your experience on the multidisciplinary side or any other experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Nada Mahmoud, the team leader of Ain Shams University from Egypt. As Mr. Allen said, it was really great for all teams to get together, and especially for us, we had like a small collaboration with the team of Russia, Alexander, Castania. We had like most common in our work as a geophysicist and petrophysicist. So I think it was really great in working as a collaboration. And I always tell that Evolve is for life. It's not just for these 6 months. I had a lot of friends now, and I'm really grateful for this program.
And every now and then, Ms. Nada calls me for career advice. I've had this opportunity to do this, and what do you think I should do? And again, yes, this is just routine for Evolve, right? We're all kind of a big group of friends, and we help each other out. So maybe I'll turn over to one other student. You know how when you're in school, sometimes you get the students who go around the first time, and well, they have to go back through the class a second time. Well, we do have one of those students here. And he knows who I'm talking about because he's smiling now. So Mr. Zibi was around in our first year. Now, he actually did a very good job there, but he decided to come back around for a second time. And, by the way, you could do Evolve 10 times and still have something to learn. That's one thing. It's not just you do it once because you come to different data sets, you face different challenges. So joking aside, he's done really well, but tell us a bit about your experience, ZB. And of course, you worked in the DSG cloud this year. I know we have Walter Gonzalez from Landmark. So anyway, share any thoughts you have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Allen, for the introduction. I'm ZB from team 2008 from Krakow in Poland. And I think to address the question of Ms. Jenny properly, the lesson number one that we all learned is there's always much more work to do than we expect. And as we were a team of mostly geophysicists, it was really hard for us to focus on different things than geophysics. And then suddenly well, suddenly we had to also deal with economics and reservoir engineering and all that stuff. So it was really a life lesson, you could say.
Okay, thank you. And let's see, I'm looking here at one of the team. I see we have our U of H team led by my good friend, the famous Dr. John Castagna. All the world is AVO, right? He's written the classic papers, or many of the classic papers on AVO. So you guys, you knew about AVO. Did you learn anything else as part of Evolve? Or did Dr. Castagna already covered everything you needed to know?
Well, I think we got a couple of us here, but I think we all learned many things because, like you said, multidisciplinary. We sat down day one and tried to divvy up responsibilities because some of us had both G&G experience and some of us had some reservoir engineering experience. But when it came down to it, we just, every week, getting grilled by Castagna or getting, criticized by, constructive criticism by each other. You learn how to trust each other and rely on each other's data and maps. And and by the end of it, I got to the point where anything that somebody brought to the table from the team, we could trust that it was good work and we could use it for our presentation.
Right, and I think I can speak to that as well. But Joe came in from industry and brought a lot of different types of knowledge that I think a lot of us in school didn't necessarily have. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, at least, was at least from a geologist's perspective, you come in with a certain set of skills, stratigraphy or regional geology, and you realize, well, I don't know anything about economics or engineering or making money out of this as an investment opportunity. And I think learning that and realizing there's still a whole lot to learn in this industry. There's a whole different set of skills that you have to learn beyond just, your geology specialty or anything else. So I think that was really insightful to see. And I think our team really brought that together with having a bunch of different specialties to learn and build off of.
Okay, well, thank you. And I see here, and Mario, thanks for feeding me the chat because I don't necessarily see everything going on. But I believe Ms. Anna Shaughnessy, President-elect of SEG, would like to maybe make a comment or ask the teams a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I have not been a mentor, but I sort of pop in here and there to watch some of the teams from time to time. And I'm always impressed by what you're doing, what you're learning. And when I see your faces right now, it's sort of my dream that the leadership of SEG will look like this. And so you will become our leaders of the future. And I want to echo what Rocco said, that we anticipate that you will pay back. And right now it might mean that you just continue membership in SEG, but also that you involve others around you to really understand what you've learned, how exciting it is to do applied geophysics, and really spread that word around you. I'd also like, and maybe this is my question, I'm starting to really get involved in sustainability and how we can kind of move into the energy transition, which is not necessarily that easy. But I would like to ask you, how do you see that you can contribute to this? Have you learned enough to maybe do a project on water or CO2 sequestration and monitoring? How can you apply, or do you feel like you can apply what you've learned in your oil and gas projects to projects that can help you move us into a world that needs less oil and gas and maybe can become more sustainable? Thank you.
So who would like to take that question on? We've certainly had some teams that were, the university itself was very focused on the non-E&P aspects, but
I wouldn't mind, Mr. Bertain.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So it's really interesting because I've got industry experience and now Evolve experience, and I'm actually in the third round of a interview for a emissions company. And one of the big questions that they asked through the interview process was project management skills, as well as the risking of projects. And that's exactly what you do in the Evolve program. And being able to talk about applied geophysics and how geophysical data can be used to leverage those projects. It was very good in the interview process for me, and we'll see how it goes with the job. But it's definitely, SEG definitely helped my resume stand out, as well as just overall being able to understand what projects they have and how my skill set might be useful for that company. So.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else want to address the sustainability related opportunities and how what you've learned could help you with those?
Yes, Mr. Allen.
Go ahead, Silas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about carbon sequestration and monitoring. So during the SEG Evolve program, we had to work with seismic data, trying to characterize the reservoir and all that. And I see it's very applicable to carbon storage, because it's about the same process where you characterize the reservoir. Just the difference right now is you're not really trying to extract, but you're trying to store. So you're trying to see the ability of the reservoir to store. So you also look at things like permeability, porosity. You try to check if there wouldn't be any leak points and all that. So I feel some of the skills we got here in Evolve are still transferable to sustainability.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else would like to bring up any points related to that?
Alan, can I make a comment about carbon capture?
Of course.
During the SEG meeting convention this week, I heard a 2-hour session about carbon capture. They call it CCS, carbon capture storage. Sometimes they call it CCUS. But the issue is going to be monitoring. The governments and states want the contractor or the service company, whoever does the CO2 project, to monitor these projects for 50 up to 100 years. And because they don't want to have leaks, they don't want to have seal leakage. And so the issue is, how do you do that at the proper cost, at the right cost? You say, well, just use 4D seismic every 2 years. That's expensive. So the talks were really interesting because they talked about passive seismic, gravity, microseismic, EM, and maybe you might want to integrate some of these skills, technologies, to really do this carbon capture monitoring projects that is economic at the right cost. So, and of course, a lot of the issues we talk about in this program, Evolve, fits that criteria, risk, technology, and also economic. So I think it all ties together. That's my point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I can build on that, please. If you participated in the annual meeting this year, great. And if you didn't, I understand that you can still actually sign up and you can view all the sessions from this week. It's an incredible place to get all sorts of information. And like Mike said, there were some wonderful sessions on carbon sequestration. There were sessions on how to use geophysics in medical applications, planetary. There were all sorts of fascinating talks about Mars and what they're doing on Mars, different experiments. So if you didn't go, I encourage you, and maybe Linda or someone else from SEG can tell you how much it costs, but it is an incredible amount of information that is all related to what you do and what you'd like to learn more about. So I encourage you to sign up and take your time and sit down and listen to hours of fascinating new knowledge. Thank you.
And Anna, the SEG website was easy to work with.
Yeah, and Alan, if I could just make a quick comment. part of what you'll learn and evolve is technical things, right? You're going to learn how to identify the potential location of oil and gas and things like that. But I think very significant part of Evolve is you're going to learn, as we talked about, multidisciplinary teams, but not just learning how to work with another discipline, but learning how to communicate, learning how to fill the gaps in knowledge that you as a group you don't have. So how do you go find that knowledge? How do you tackle problems that at first glance look intractable? How do you assign some business value to it? These things are applicable in almost any kind of technical position or business position you will ever have, whether it's in the oil and gas industry, whether it's in the other engineering industries, whether it's in green industries. Wind is hiring geophysicists, solar is hiring geologists. As Anna talked about, medical is hiring geophysical imagers. So when you take your learning away from Evolve, think about the broader level of skills that you've developed. And as you look for positions out there that are going to lead you into your future, think about what excites you and how you can apply those skills.
Okay, well, thank you. I do have some questions in the chat here. I do see we have a question from Mr. Jason Ellison. He works with Enverus. I believe he's actually in Colorado, driving up to the hills and watching us on Zoom. So thank you for joining us. And they've generously made available well data and logs for us to use. But he has a question. I think this one is for our perhaps for our Moscow team, because he has a question about I think. Oh, actually, this question was from somebody else. This was a question from Larry Finkel. Sorry, about the velocity model and how important is the velocity model, which is why I think I'm going to send that one to Mr. Alexander. And then actually, Mr. Jason's question is about the use of dry hole post-well analysis. Several of the teams did that. So why don't we start with the velocity question first? Mr. Alexander, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Allen. Well, I'll speak up about this question. So, what problem we expected in our region was the rudigenous sands that were under the Techstein cells. And we know actually from the basics of geophysics that cells could be characterized with high values of velocities. And actually, it's a problem because of fault structures that we can see on time migrated images of the of seismic. So basic thing to correct velocity model and to build it are connected is connected with seismic processing, like processing of seismograms, with staff, with tomography, and etc. and etc. Still, we've got only stack data, and you know about that. And after all, we fortunately have done velocity model, and we've got considerable results and affordable mistakes in depth that we could expect. Of course, it was they were, but still, these mistakes was about some kind of a few meters. I think I remember it's the highest one was 5 meters. Yeah. So the point here is that we may build an actually good velocity model without any processing actually, and that's maybe sounds weird, but still it's a great point to save your money on the processing stage, because the seismic tomography processing velocity model building it's too difficult stuff to do. And what we've actually done, we used our acoustic logs, and we've done time depth functions on all interval of the well of the wells, and that's why we've done velocity model building connected on the real data that we've got from the acoustic logs. And so I think the point here is that in the real cases of the real world, we should not, I think, blame someone who gives us a data set and complain, well, we have no, I don't know, regional velocity trend, or we have no three-dimensional velocity model. First of all, I think the basic thing that could do a specialist as a geophysicist is to try to figure out velocities from the stuff that he has. Sorry,
Okay.
and actually to look what result we can get that way.
Okay. All right, very good. And actually, we may talk more about that a little bit later. And there was a question about the post-drill analysis, what used to be called postmortems in the old days. I think there's a more politically correct name for those things these days. But several of the teams did that. This one was actually, someone had a question about New Zealand. So does someone want to take on either New Zealand directly, or one of the other teams that did the post-drill analyses want to talk about the importance of that in terms of calibrating your risks?
I think I can speak to that.
Okay, make sure the volume's up.
Oh yeah, from the UH team, I spent a bit of time on that. We're working in the Northland Basin, and we actually were only given one well in the middle of our data set, and the rest we were having to pull wells from outside of our true study area. But what we ended up doing is taking a bunch of wells from the Taranaki Basin to the south and using reservoir characterization from that area and extrapolating the same thing to the north. And I think doing this really taught our team a lot about how to mitigate risk at the same time of understanding we're still going to have to deal with that uncertainty, and there's really nothing, there's only so much you can get rid of, but at the same time, using those wells to calibrate gave us an idea of, even if you're not given all of the data, which is common for especially our level of interest in the record, we still had to make a call and develop some sort of reservoir characterization. So doing this post-drill analysis gave us something when we really had nothing for where we wanted to drill.
And, you know, since you're speaking specifically of your area, Northland Basin, so as you said, we gave you one well. That happened to be the only well actually drilled. So that was real world. We weren't hiding anything from you, and you did what is correct, which is if you don't have something here, well, you go farther afield, whether you go onshore and look at the outcrops, or whether you go to the next basin to the south, you still dig for everything you can get. And that's what you guys did. So, okay. I think officially we'd kind of set about an hour for this part. So I don't know if there's any other sort of burning questions. I think we've addressed almost everything that was in the chat. Any of the mentors want to say anything, or anybody got a really burning question? If not, we might move on to the next part of the agenda.
Mr. Allen, if you don't mind, I was just going to ask briefly, like, how do you feel, or how does the mentor as a whole feel about the level of work done this year versus other years from these groups? Just a general idea.
I think we're going to address that a little bit in the next in the recognition session. You know, I'm going to say quickly, and obviously the other mentors can come in, that I think, well, this was obviously our biggest team. We're in terms of 25 teams all over the globe. I think you were very multidisciplinary. And, you know, every year we learn, by the way, and evolve in making it more efficient, how we deliver the data to you, giving you, you know, the right data that you need, et cetera. But I'm going to say I was very pleased myself with the quality of the work that was done, the commitment, and I think you guys really excelled. And I'll turn it over to my colleague mentors, see what they have to say. Miss Jenny, maybe?
Yeah, I think it gets better every year, but I also think the process sort of where we saw some issues maybe last year, we figured out ways to try to get you to improve the process. So like how the reserves were calculated. We had, I think, a few more questions last year about things, and this year sort of getting you to think about a back of the envelope reserve calculation, got you to sort of start the process and then how far you took it, you know, some more, some less, but I think it, you know, gets better all the time. And I think you'll find as you go through the whole process, it's the same thing with multidisciplinary, how you convey the information to each other and from us to you is always a challenge, because as a teacher and a mentor, as I've evolved in my career, trying to explain something and how that's received from you and what you achieve with it is always interesting to see, because when you say something to someone, they don't always hear what you think they're saying. And I think you probably saw the same thing talking a geologist to an engineer. Your perspective is different. So that communication is also a critical thing, I think, hopefully you guys learned from this whole process.
I think I'll actually ask, if I can, Mr. Francisco Ortigosa. He was there in 2018. Zibi, you may remember that. He was there at the sessions, has been following Evolve for the last 3 years. And I remember you had some tough questions about probability of geologic success to the 2018 teams, but maybe your thoughts on how the teams have developed over the years?
Well, I think that all the things that I have known during the last years, all of them, they are completely very professional, and the results of their work, what I have been several times, as well, is really professional and creative. Something that is something I see that is becoming better and better and better. And this is something that I think is really interesting, this kind of things, is absolutely the manner in which everything is integrated into a unique project. It's not that of a geologist work or geophysicist work or petrophysicist or engineer. All the work that I have, every time I see more and more integrated, cross-disciplinary work, and everybody is fully engaged and involved with the integration from the others. And I think that this is something very important, because sometimes maybe in the university or when you learn how to do your specialty and everything, and then the idea of working together with other colleagues at this level in Evolve and with the mentors is you are getting more and more the integration part of all of this work, because again, the addition of the parts is all the parts together is better and bigger than the addition of every individual part.
Okay, well, thank you. And maybe a few quick comments from Mr. Forrest and Mr. DeTomo, and then I think we probably need to move on to the second part of the agenda.
Yeah, quick here. One key element of the program, Evolve, is your, say, 12-minute final presentation. And it really takes a lot of thinking and what slides are you going to show? What information, what technical data, and what words are you going to speak to make your point and to tell your story? It's all about telling a story, you know, with a recommendation to join a prospect or a well, and that's more difficult than you might think. To try to say 12 minutes, you got 15 slides. Which slides do I show to make my point? And that's sometimes more difficult for all of us to really do.
Okay. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah, excellent point, Mike. And I'm going to make a slightly related point because the question is how did the teams compare this year to in the past? I think overall, I don't know if it's because we're the mentors and Alan kind of know where the pitfalls are likely to be based upon past experience, but overall, I think the quality has improved. Um, Now, that being said, there are still stronger teams and weaker teams, just like there've always been stronger teams and weaker teams. I think the thing that I really see improving is people are starting to recognize that you don't get a lot of credit for how much time or the amount of work that you do. You get credit for the results and the quality of your work, right? So it's all about learning how to be efficient, how to accomplish what you want to accomplish with the data that limited data you have and the limited time that you have. That's very different than academic areas. Lots of times in academic areas, if you spent 20 hours, well, you should get credit for 20 hours worth of work. In industry, you spend 20 hours, nobody really cares how long you spent. Did you get to an answer and have results? So I think the teams nowadays are recognizing that and doing a better job at that than the teams in the past. So I give you all a lot of credit for that.
Okay, well, thank you. And then
Alan,
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Cheng just to get his thoughts. He
yeah,
coordinated the Southeast Asia teams. Yes.
yeah. I just have a couple of quick questions, quick comments. One, as somebody at Mike Frost knows that brought in Paula Burton into the EFOR program in the first place. I'm very, very extremely happy and see it evolved to this stage, and really a lot of credit goes to Mike and you to shepherd this program, and just I think the amount of energy and work you guys put in is just tremendous. As you mentioned, I'm new to this in terms of mentoring the three teams in Southeast Asia, one in KL, one in Indonesia, and one in China. They were the earliest hit by the COVID virus, especially the one in China. And they were really making a lot of adjustments on the fly. And as you just getting the data, just setting up everything. And I just give them a lot of credit to persevere going through all that and get the work done. So I enjoy really working with them and look forward to further opportunities and looking for them.
Okay, well, thank you. So I think if there's no other burning issues, we'll move on to the next part of the agenda. And so I think this is where I go back to sharing a screen. I think it's screen number 1. And let's go back to full screen mode. Oh, there we go. Hopefully, let's see. Are we good there? My producer, Mr. Mario? Yeah, good? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly through these next parts because some of these we've actually covered. So just quickly, so congratulations on finishing up Evolve 2020. Well, we're already launching Evolve 2021. So do let your colleagues at your university or around the world know that that is in progress. So that was launched here September 30th. Applications due by October 30th. And this year, what's slightly different is that the teams will all get to select the software of their choice. So that's a little bit different. We don't currently have specific plans for a cloud team. There's a $50 fee for accepted teams. And that's just, in the oil business, people like to say, we like it when people have their skin in the game. That means like you're investing your own money. So we think actually, even if it's only $50 per university, that'll make sure your professors are kind of cracking the whip on you even harder, et cetera. So the technical committee will meet here before too long after the applications are closed, and we hope to have decisions by the end of November. Currently estimating 20 teams. That can change depending on the level of funding we receive. So if you know of anybody that wants to sponsor teams, get the word out. That's how we get more teams. And we will kick off, January 1st. The funding to date has come through Halliburton, SEG, Mr. Forrest, myself, other individuals. We're definitely looking for 2021 team sponsors. And, we've had some people tell us, how come you don't have a team from this country? And they're probably going to sponsor us. Now, that money doesn't go to you, the students, but it does go. There is a cost to the Evolve office, to computers, etc. So any help you can give us in that would be great. And then this, is just to say, now, some of the students, they like to rack up credits or to have completed things. I've check, I've done this, I've done that. Well, all of you know that Evolve is a real commitment in terms of effort. So if you do encourage people, make sure you also explain to them that it's going to require a lot of effort on their part. We have learned over the years, I'm sorry to say this as a geophysicist, but the teams led by engineers tend to be more successful. That is what we've observed. So keep that in mind. Try to avoid teams that don't have any engineers. And again, the more your professors are involved, the better you're going to do. There is no limit to what you'll learn, but you will only get out what you put in. And this is the slide lower right there. Jesus gave me this slide one time, and it tells you, see, when you're students, you begin what's called the peak of Mount Stupid. I'm afraid that's what this slide says, which means you know a few things, but you think you know it all. And then very quickly, and I think this happened to many of you in Evolve, suddenly you realize the real world is nothing like those courses and those simple slides. And then you fall into the valley of despair and you go cry on Miss Jenny's shoulder, and she pulls you back out. And that's what we do. We gradually get you up this slope. But when you spread the word on Evolve, make sure that we have committed Evolve teams. Now, all the people in oil companies, like we said, if you've got 2 years of experience, you've still got a long ways to go in your career, honestly. If you've got 10 years, you really have a long ways to go. And I've got 40 years, and I still have a long ways to go before I'm up to Mr. Forrest level. So bottom line, that's why SEG helped set up SEG Evolve Professional. That is in place. That is just like you, 6-month part-time virtual internship, except it's for oil companies and service companies. And so we're hoping to kick off in parallel with next year's student teams, Evolve Professional teams. We're talking to some oil companies right now. So help us get the word out on those. Career comments, I think we sort of talked about those. I'm going to go very, very quickly through a few slides, but I was part of an AAPG panel discussion last week. It was led by Dr. Sharon Mosher, formerly at the University of Texas Jackson School of Geosciences. It was very interesting, but we talked about the transition. So quickly, just to follow up on what Mr. Forrest was saying, and do you see my pointer? Let's see, do you see my pointer here, Mario?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you see the pointer. So here we are today where most of our geoscientists and most of us are working in the oil and gas field, hydrocarbons, all this blue in here. And a few are working in alternatives. And this was from the talk given by the Shell person who attended that same panel discussion. And we are saying that by 2050, at least this projection, and these are all speculative, of course, but we're saying a lot more of you will be working in carbon capture and storage. Maybe half, maybe a third of what we have today will be working in hydrocarbons, but it's not going away. So keep that in mind. Those of you who are interested in exploring, that's not disappearing completely. Geothermal, etc. So that is the transition. So hydrocarbons will become a lot smaller than today, but it's not going to go away. This is from Dr. Mosher's slides. So she shows that employment for geoscientists is expanding. And it's expanding into these new fields, hydrology, atmospheric science, soil and plant science. So these are some of the new job opportunities of the future. And this is, again, someone's projection, but it's showing you've got to broaden your thinking. There could be many, many different things. This was interesting. This was from Mr. Groch's paper, the Shell person. So he's actually defining the skill sets needed for carbon capture. And since time is short, I won't go into it, but guess what? It's the same skills you need to do to find oil and gas reservoirs. And so to me, that's kind of a really important lesson that I got from participating in that seminar. So basically the key skills that you learn through E&P and that we're teaching you in Evolve are fully applicable to the new careers as we move to the energy transition. So none of your time was wasted just because you were looking for oil or gas. That is going to be very useful for you. And there's a simple rule. It's the more time one spends integrating large multidisciplinary data, the better an E&P geoscientist or engineer you become, and the better a sustainable geoscientist and engineer you become. And so again, everything we've done is useful. Now, I will say one thing. When you work in E&P, you have these oil companies that can afford, and Mr. Forrest talked about economics, they can afford to go shoot nice new 3D surveys. They can get Ms. Nada all the logs she wants in her well. They can get you everything. You don't necessarily get that so easily as you move to the other fields. So my main point is make the most of when you're in an E&P setting and you have the luxury of nice 3D data sets and current logs, dip meters, whatever it is, make the most of it, because that's when you're going to learn the most about multidisciplinary integration of data. And once you go to some of these other fields, you may not get access to as much data. This is my cartoon. I'm glad the president-elect of SEG left the meeting because you might fire me for this. This is just a cartoon of mine. But this was me looking at, as we think about Evolve for the future, here we are, E&P, and already we're talking about CO2. We have a CO2 data set. We could do CO2 Evolve next year. I'd like to get some funding first, to be honest. Salt domes are used for storage right here in Houston. Helium, people are looking for helium. Of course, Moon, Mars, Enceladus. So my vision of Evolve is toward infinity. That's it, with us leading the way. So hopefully Ms. Shaughnessy isn't going to fire me for that, since that's not an official view. But anyway, just to say, we're going to adapt. Bottom line for Evolve, I like this little picture because, like we said, in these days, especially, this is truer than ever. Everything's going virtual. This is no longer about if you can afford to fill a room with thousands of nodes that you're going to be competitive. Actually, it's almost the opposite. If you don't have the nodes, but you have a lot of brain power and you know how to manipulate data, you might actually be able to make more money. And so Evolve, you may or may not have realized it, but what we were ultimately trying to teach you is how to turn data into dollars. Why? Because that's why people employ you. They only employ you to make money for them. Well, there may be some other reasons, but that's a key reason. If you can turn data into dollars, you're going to have a good chance at getting a job. So we've been teaching you the principles of creating wealth. That's really what we've been doing in Evolve. That's why we go from beginning to end. And, you know, closing thoughts, this is not our careers of the past. You know, the days of the one company, 30 years, retire, are more or less behind us. There's a few exceptions. Mr. Ortigosa gave a talk a few weeks ago about what he calls the nomads, K-N-O-W, mads. But you're going to do many different things. So just remember, once you know how to create value, right? After that, it's just a question, how are you going to share the value you create with other people? And so salaried employment is a business model. You can be working in an override situation. That's another business model. You can be a consultant. You can be an idea generator. Some people who can draw a cartoon on a piece of paper can take that napkin and actually get money for that. That's why I'm trying to train you to draw, etc. So just keep in mind that the future that you're going to work in, it's going to be highly variable. You're going to have to be very, very adaptable. You're probably going to have a range of business models. I think that really completes those comments. So are there any questions on that right now?
Alan, I just want to add another perspective on,
please,
especially for those people who are outside the US and in Europe and in Asia. One of the trend of the applied geophysics is actually towards urban deployment, studying, near surface underground, what is underneath our cities. You're looking at civil engineering, geotechnical applications, tunnel stability, tunnel look ahead, all kinds of issues that exactly what you're going through is incomplete data. You're making assumptions of models, and you have certain measurements, and your skill set maps directly over into these areas. And they're actually in the civil engineering environment, they're looking more and more geophysicists to help them do a better job. So you might not get as much of it in the US per se, but outside, since I live in Singapore, we're not in Houston. We can't just expand out past Highway 8 and beyond. And so we look a lot about looking underneath our cities. And China, I think those of you in China knows about the same type of issue. I just want to mention it in terms of just echoing what Alan is saying. It just it's expanding even more about the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And do any of the mentors want to say anything else about this part, the careers, or there's some nice quotes going here in the chat. So Jesus, Mario, I hope you're getting pictures of those. I mean, some of them are just comments. So let's make sure we get those. So I think maybe we can move on to the next stage, which is probably what the students have all been waiting for. So recognition, they want to be told how wonderful they are, right? So if there's no, yeah, exactly. Mr. DeTomo's patting on the back. Yeah. So let's try and share screens again. Screen one, I think, is what it was. Share, and let's go back to slideshow. Start from the current slide. And again, we're good. Okay, so all you students, well, what's in it for me? What am I getting out of this? You know, I did all this hard work. I want something, right? So, okay, well, we're going to talk about that. Well, first of all, you are going to get a completion certificate. So every single student that and I didn't have time. Jesus has the certificates. You know, some of this, you know, Mr. Forrest liked to say, we learn from you, the students too. And I think I've learned to put things off to the last minute from the students. You've taught me that. So anyway, I didn't have time to get the slide from Jesus, but there will be an SEG certificate. So everybody that completed SEG Evolve satisfactorily, you will get an official SEG certificate. It will be sent to you as a PDF in mail. So, you know, I think you guys are the generation where you like to receive all sorts of things. So he probably said, that's not enough. So we're going to give you a digital medal for your email signature. So we had our leading edge staff design something. So you can imagine, of course, this is a Zoom of it, but you'll be able to have your email signature. And I can see already the students' minds turning, how they're going to use this, etc. But of course, you can have your signature. And as a graduate of Evolve, you'll now have this little medal you can put at the bottom of your signature, which is, I'm an Evolve Explorer. Now, you mentors, you're all wishing you could have these, and you'll be pleased to know that we've also designed an Evolve Mentor digital medal. We're currently designing some aspects of it, so we'll roll that out another time, but mentors don't feel left out. Now, you know, some people are going to say, well, a digital medal, that's just a JPEG, right? I can go into the business of creating Evolve digital medals, and I can go on the black market and sell them and get rich, right? So fortunately, we thought of that. And this is why we had the next thing, which is the Wall of Fame. So Wall of Fame is on the SEG website. And somewhere in here, you'll see on the main Evolve page, it says, look who made the 2020 Evolve Wall of Fame. So if I get a call from somebody in an oil company and they say, Joe Blow tells me that they're an SEG Evolve graduate because they bought for 10 cents a little sticker, I'm going to say, well, go check on the Wall of Fame. If they're on the Wall of Fame, they completed the job. If they didn't, then they may have gotten the badge or whatever, some other ways. So there you go. So look at all these wonderful gifts. By the way, right now, this is the PDF of Fame. And I think I'm going to get Mario to help us come up with something that looks more like a real Wall of Fame. We'll tweak the website, but anyway, that's the idea. So now, as if that's not enough, I mean, I almost sound like, and now, not only, you also get this. Well, guess what? You guys are all getting a t-shirt because Mr. Forrest and I are making a personal gift to all the Evolve students. You've probably seen our t-shirts from last year. Some of them saw them at the annual meeting, so you're all going to get an Evolve 2020 t-shirt. You can see they're quite resilient because Mr. Forrest is jumping around, Miss Patsy's jumping around in her t-shirt from last year. And yes, as we know from one of the post meeting events in a bar one night, a very dark bar, they do glow in the dark. So these are good t-shirts. So Mr. Forrest and I will arrange to get that delivered to all of you. By the way, we will count on your primary point of contacts to help with the delivery, right? You're part of the delivery mechanism for the t-shirts. Okay, so now we come to recognition, okay? So the first thing is our chart tells us from the very beginning that it takes many aspects to be successful in exploration, right? And so no one tool, just because I go buy a high-end computer is not enough to be a successful explorer. Just because I have one piece of software is not enough. Just because I know these technical things, as Mr. DeTomo just pointed out, it's a whole series of skills. And so in keeping with Evolve, we've got recognition in a whole variety of categories. Now, we'll go through these pretty quickly, but basically that's what we're going to do. So somebody asked, so first of all, a lot of high quality work was done in 2020. You guys really did do a good job. There were some very impressive maps, cross-section displays, etc. So what's the main benefit you got from participating in Evolve? It was the time you spent with the mentors. It's the work you did. That's your number one learning. So I like to say, if you had the chance to work with mentors for 6 months and you spent one day, well, you got one day's worth of benefit, so to speak, et cetera. That's the main thing. So we throw the recognition in for fun. So what I would say is let's not kind of get too caught up in this. And to be honest, this is again, in part, in answer to the question, honestly, there were so many good things that deserve recognition that we'd be here for a couple of hours. So what I did is I kind of recognized for teams like a couple of things or whatever it was, and we didn't go on indefinitely. So some teams, it might have been that we have 7 things we needed to tell them about, but we're not going to do that in the interest of time in part. Now, the modern generation, it's almost like last year, I was no sooner handing the physical certificate to someone and they were texting in their other hand, like, hey, I got da, da, da. Okay, so we're going to have to give you rules this year. Like we said, we learn every year from you guys. So please don't immediately start posting on social media, like as soon as whatever, we give you some recognition. Let's wait, at least give everybody the courtesy of waiting till the end of the event. Mr. Mario, our media savvy advisor, tells you here when you post, recognize hashtag SEG Evolve and at SEG Evolve Professional. And remember that this is not just about you. You may get a certificate or your team may get a certificate. It's not just about you. Look at all the people that supported you, previous donors, etc. So don't make it all about yourself. Remember that you're part of a university team and you're part of something bigger. Let's see if Mr. Mario has anything else to add on our social media procedures. No. Any questions? If you're in doubt, just get in touch. Okay, best investment opportunity. And I will tell you that we looked at these very much like an oil company does. We literally looked at your volumetrics. We looked at your piece of G. We looked at the EMV. But just like in a real oil company, your numbers are not the final word, right? They usually have a group. At Shell, they used to call them RXCs. Mr. DeToma probably knows what I'm talking about. And their job is to make sure that each business unit is using consistent practices and one isn't overestimating piece of G. So your numbers are not necessarily the final numbers, but we reviewed those together as a technical group and we adjusted. If someone put 400 feet of pay in an area that we thought that was excessive, we recalculated your reserves based on 200 feet of pay. So, if you say like, well, I didn't win this, blah, 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 well, maybe we tweaked your numbers because you were too optimistic, or we might have gone the other way. In some cases, we did go the other way. And, best investment opportunity, there's another factor here, which is outside your control. And if you're in a good area, and this happens in the real world, right? If your management was smart enough to get a concession in the right place, you're going to do well. And if not, you're not going to do so well. So let's go. Okay, everybody ready? Fasten your seatbelt. So let's. Okay. And what did we say, Mario? Do we want everybody to go through hiding their cameras and the ones that are recognized turn on, or should we just skip that for now? Skip it, maybe.
We can skip it for now, unless the people that have been I think let's turn our cameras off, and then when you say the university's name, they turn it on, because we do have like 50 people in the background that haven't turned their cameras on this whole time. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to see their faces.
Yeah, so when you recognize, and by the way, we're not going to necessarily even put the name of the university. So when you recognize your work, turn your picture on so that, yeah, I guess everybody will see it. So let's start with the Dutch North Sea. And the Dutch North Sea best investment opportunity was by our Boise State team. And they had a prospect which was called Angel. It's a three-way feature up against default. And it had some larger reserves than some of the other opportunities. And so that's the team. And by the way, again, you'll be receiving separately by PDF the recognition certificates. Best investment opportunity, Southern North Sea. So this is actually the Eijnsham's team. So the other team also did a lot of work, had some good opportunities in the end when we calculated the volumetrics and the risk. This one came slightly higher. And more than once in this process, I will tell you that as the technical committee reviewing these, it was like, you know, I like this prospect. And then we would come back and say, yeah, but we've done the numbers, and the numbers say it should be this. So we have to be unemotional. We have to go with what the numbers say. So there we go. Ms. Nada smiling here. So Camel Hump, good name, by the way. We won't give you a medal for that, but anyway, so that's that one. Northern Taranaki Basin. Now remember, we said the best investment opportunity is a place on the map. And so in this case, two teams had the same prospect. That's what it was. So obviously, if one team had the right X or you know, the best investment opportunity, so did the other one. And so in this case, it is two teams. It is, of course, our Mumbria team. You recognize your own materials, and it is the OU team. Now, I will tell you, this prospect for our, some of the other teams was a really tough one, because I will tell you, Krakow team, I really liked your prospect. And Mr. Forrest will tell you, I looked at it and said, you know what, if this were my money, I might actually drill that one first, because I liked that you had stacked multi-pay potential. But, you know, we ran the numbers. This one had larger areas. This had some well control close by, which means it was a bit less projection. So that's what the way the numbers worked out. And again, we kind of have to be unemotional. That is what prospect evaluation is supposed to be about. It's not about getting all excited and emotional. And of course, Mr. Forrest, Miss Jenny, jump in, or Mr. DeTomo, anytime you want. Well, Northland Basin, now it happens this was the only team working, our U of H team, but I will say you guys did just an outstanding job overall. I mean, you did basin modeling. We're not going to give you a basin modeling medal or anything, but you did an extremely comprehensive job. Facies analysis, model building. You only had 2D data, but you still built velocity models. So an outstanding job, but yeah, you win by default, but you were still very, very good. So congratulations on that. Mustang Island, 4 teams in Mustang Island. I'm going to tell you, luck of the draw. Mustang Island is a really tough area. It's a part of the Gulf of Mexico where sand is in very short supply. So honestly, and the structural style ends up with very steep structures. It's very hard to pin down the closure. Sometimes you can't tell if it's really closing. And this data was a little bit what I call wormy, the data quality. I don't know if there was some reprocessing needed really. But this was a very good, that's of course our Kiev team. You guys recognize your map. And so that was in a very tough area, what we called the best investment opportunity. Vermilion, okay, here's another area, honestly was very, very tough. Yeah, what I'm gonna say is, you know what, all your prospects basically had about the same volumetrics. All your prospects, Vermilion's a good area. See, this is the luck of the draw. When you're in Vermilion, things are relatively, they work in your favor. You all had about the same piece of G. So in the end, what made us pick this one? And if our Ooh La La team listened to the questions this week, you would have understood it. Actually, we thought you were being a bit pessimistic on your prospects. So you focused on this area here between two faults, and you kind of made that your prospect. So even though you matched the reserves and the others, we actually thought that you were part of a larger four-way closure. You actually had some amplitudes to the north. So in the end, again, a close call. So don't get annoyed at the other teams, but that's what you do. So we saw more upside. So obviously, if I've got exposure to more upside, that's what I'm going to go with. Best investment opportunity, Eugene Island. So Ms. Tayuba and her team, of course, you're in one of the most prolific areas in the entire Gulf of Mexico. I forget if Eugene Island is one of the absolute largest fields, Eugene Island 330. So fortunately, you found one of the largest fields in the Gulf of Mexico. If you hadn't found it, we probably should send you to come back next year and do it again. But good job on that. Of course, stacked pays. Mr. Forrest was involved around the discovery of this area. I think Shell actually had the next block over, if I recall. But good job on that. That is the best investment opportunity. Main Pass, what I'm going to say, Main Pass was a really tough area because the data was really tough. The signal to noise was low. The trackers didn't really work very well. So it was just a tough area all around. Everybody kind of struggled with it. It's very hard to interpret any meaning to the amplitudes. But in the end, it felt like this by the Indonesiologist team was a real trap. It was fault bounded. And so, of course, if I can drill a four-way closure, that's always a good thing. That's always one of the lowest risk kind of prospects. So that's the reason for that. Best investment opportunity, East Cameron. So this is Mr. Chisholm, Chisholm Opara Nestor. And he just worked extremely hard during the entire time. Very interesting. He comes from a physics background. And so that gives us hope, right? Even a physicist can find oil and gas, right? Nothing against you, Mr. Chisholm, but hey, I use any opportunity to have a bit of fun. So anyway, it turns out that actually when you looked at the prospect and the risks, that's the one that came out. And so that's it. So do any of the mentors, that completes the best investment category. Like I said, some of them were really close calls. Does anybody, Mr. Forrest, maybe want to make any more comments about that part? Or Mr. DeTomo, you've been through this exercise many times.
Some of, as you pointed out, wait a minute, am I muted here?
No, you're on.
No, go ahead, Mike.
Some of the, Alan and I talked with Jenny, some of the winners, it was a very close call, as was pointed out by Alan.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was going to say in the real world, you actually compete for, even within a company, you compete for investment dollars because there's always more investments than you have dollars for. And so it's always about, they're high graded and prioritized the same way. And, what you learn from doing this and just recognize that, other opportunities for whatever reason inside and outside your control may in fact be a better investment. It isn't just the work that's done. It's just sometimes being aware of it. So good job to all the teams, actually. Then that was recognized by it being so close in so many cases.
Absolutely. So as we say, many factors outside your control, probably most significantly, which data set you ended up with was a huge factor. Now we move to the next set of recognition. And these, from now on, these are more under your control, or they may be human traits too. So let's go on. Maps are very important. That we put a lot of emphasis on maps here, because in the end, that is what's going to really convince others to invest in your prospect or not. So that's a very important skill. So we had 3 primary software platforms here. So DSG, this is the Krakow team. You guys just did a lot of excellent mapping and, some very impressive work in DSG. This is just one of them I pulled up. So very good job to the Krakow team on your DSG work. At first, they kept looking for these little amplitudes up shallow, and we kept saying, why don't you look for something big, like a big structure? So finally, ZB, second time around, it took him 2 times. He finally decided to focus on the big structures. I'm just joking with you, but great maps. So congratulations on some really good mapping. Okay, best maps, Petrel. And a lot of you worked in Petrel, so there were a lot. But this was some very good work, Miss Ksenia. I call it runner-up, but it was really some excellent work. You did a lot of mapping. Some of it was regional. Some of it was on the prospect scale. So just congratulations. Really good job on that. And so the actual best map for Petrel was our China team. Mr. Uzona did a lot of work in here and some very good maps, nice fault polygons, as you can see, nicely labeled contours, good selection of color bars. You can actually read the numbers on the color bar. So very good work, Mr. Uzona. Very nice maps. And these are just a couple. He also made a whole bunch more. And on the Kingdom platform, our CAUS team, and again, I just picked one. Like I say, I'm learning from you students. I was doing this last night and this morning, so I just picked one of your maps to illustrate. But you did some nice work on the mapping. So that's it for the best maps. Any of the mentors want to say anything about maps and mapping? Or I know we had Mr. Walter Gonzalez from Halliburton. I don't know if he's still there, but if he is, he's welcome to make any comments.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi, hello,
Yeah.
my friends. Well, so congratulations to all teams of or your results. Is I follow the comment from Alan and the other mentor is the results or your prospects is good to see in structural maps or in time or depth, and it's very easy to follow and recognize the prospects. It's very important the color bar and the other thing, because this result will be presenting to the management or the every company, as it's very important to follow and very easy to recognize the prospect and the other things related to the prospect. And congratulations to all teams.
Yeah, thank you, Walter. And since we'll talk about the cloud in a minute. If you're going to be around for a few more minutes, will you, Walter?
Yes, yes.
Good, because we're going to talk more about the cloud in a moment. Okay, so that's the mapping. Now let's go to some other categories. So again, without those skills, you're not going to make it. Now, multidisciplinary integration, you saw how some of the people from the companies were asking about that. So these teams here just did a really great job on multidisciplinary integration. This is arguably one of the hardest parts. Again, you can be lucky and end up in a certain place and you're going to get the best investment opportunity, and not to take away from those, but I'm just saying the multidisciplinary integration is really, really hard. And so these four teams here, our Rio team, our OU team, our Oriental Explorers, and our Perugia and Leoben teams. You guys all did a really excellent job of integration. Some of you went to core data, thin sections, some really good engineering work, etc. So congratulations to all of you. This is arguably one of the hardest elements of SEG Evolve, and probably, again, many students, you're not used to having to work with all these other people with different data that you don't understand. So this is quite an achievement. So congratulations to those teams. Velocity modeling. So again, we had some good velocity modeling by several teams. Like we say, U of H, had to deal with only 2D data, and Ein Shams did a lot of good work, but Mr. Alexander, he was like Mr. Velocity King, so of course he used the Petrel functionality to build his velocity functions. Of course, like some of the other teams, he picked his horizons. But as he said, he even went to actually using the sonic logs to create time depth functions to integrate into the velocity model. He was using two sources of velocity information. And you know what the hard part is you've got these, it's the gap at the top. There's a piece your sonic log only starts recording at a certain depth in most cases. So in the end, guess what? That ambiguity is the biggest control, or can be one of the biggest controls. So anyway, Mr. Alexander, you did a great job in this. I think, you know, he dreams about velocity models at night. You can see in his picture here that, you know, he's always thinking about velocity models. I believe after Evolve, he's thinking of starting like a new company that makes pillows, and he's going to have cover sheets that are the velocity models. And anybody want to invest in his company, he's going to give you a chance to invest. Petroleum engineering. Well, our UTEP team actually had an engineer, and Cole Wolf, and he did some of the most detailed engineering work that I've seen. He actually went out and got real production data. You can sort of see this on the lower left there. It's a little bit small, but anyway, he got real production data. He got a lot of well information. His volumetrics, we told most people, just do simple oil or simple gas. He actually broke it down into oil plus gas, etc. So anyway, Cole did a really good job on the reservoir engineering. And the next thing we'll talk about, so we sort of broke that up just to pure reservoir engineering versus, of course, engineering and economics are often very close together. Those two are very closely linked. And this team did a really great job on that part. So that's, of course, our Perugia-Leoben team. So other than having Mr. Max here, who you know, wouldn't accept the spreadsheet I sent him. He would like tear the spreadsheet apart one cell at a time, telling me what I was doing wrong. So other than that, this team, like we said, already was integrating a lot of data. These teams came up with production solutions. They were looking at FPSOs. And they actually came up with their own detailed AFE, approval for expenditure. This is the cost of a well. And I think we've maybe had one or two AFEs done superficially, but I think you guys went back to scratch. Like, I'm going to buy this much pipe and it's going to cost me this much. And I'm going to have a boat move the pipe. So good job, guys. So that was really the combination of the engineering and economics. Some great work there. Technological innovation is what I'm going to say, you know, because again, in Evolve is wide open, you know, no rules. It's like what, Outback Steakhouse, right? No rules, just right, or something like that, you know. But Evolve, so first of all, Ein Shams, you know, we thought very carefully about the data we give you. And so we think about how big these data sets are and how long it's going to take you to run, et cetera. So we give you guys often data, most commonly decimated data sets. So Ein Shams, they weren't happy with that. So Ein Shams, they have to go and they get their interpolation algorithms and they reinterpolate the data back to give themselves a much bigger and denser data set. So they use their own ideas. So congratulations, good thinking. Our friends from IIT, I don't know if they're here today. So IIT, it's like, okay, team, let's talk about petrophysics. How are you doing on the petrophysics? Oh, we're writing our own petrophysical software from scratch. What? Why are you writing your own petrophysical software from scratch? Well, because we can, you know, et cetera. So anyway, this team was kind of cool. You know, instead of just using something, they had to write their own from scratch. Now, I think they have a ways to go. Walter, you don't need to worry. I don't think they're going to displace Halliburton petrophysics quite yet. But I like the initiative. I like the groundbreaking, you know, the thinking. So good job on that, you guys. Okay, so let's go into some other things. Collaboration, you know, Evolve is, we've told you 100 times, it's not a competition. That's why we don't want to overwork this recognition, but it's about collaboration. So let's talk about something. Long distance collaboration, one team. This was kind of a far-flung team. This is our so-called Kiev team, but in reality, they had people in Indonesia, where else? India, and at one point, they actually had someone here in the US. If I recall, this team all met last year at the SLS, and they kind of fell in love with each other or something. They all thought they were a team made from heaven, and so they had to be together. I told them at the beginning, you guys are spread out. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, yes, we want to be together. So anyway, you were together, and you guys did a great job. So good work, you guys. That was good. And that's hard, by the way. You know, when you've got different locations, it's tough. It really is, because you're not in the cloud here. This is not a cloud team. Cloud collaboration, well, you guys here, you were in 2 physical locations. Your data was in the cloud, and that gave you an advantage in terms of collaboration. But you just did a really good job in your collaboration in the cloud. That is, and now with Mr. Walter Gonzalez, this is how the cloud is supposed to work. And this team, I should mention, by the way, is you'll notice there's Mr. Marcos here. When COVID hit, he went back to Mexico. So this team was in 3 locations. So they used that as the opportunity to set up like 24-hour interpretation. So they had the team in Mexico, or Mr. Marcos there working his shift, and the next shift came in, etc. So these guys went down to 24/7 horizon picking. So Walter, you should be proud of them for that. So good job on that. Non-cloud collaboration. Okay, you guys know who you are. Moscow, Ein Shams, you guys did great. You know, the North Sea was a really tough data set. The first time that we've used a data set where the depth conversion was absolutely essential. And so because of that, you could only gain by collaborating, and you did, and you worked really well together, and I think you all made a group of friends, right? Yeah, so great job on that.
Yeah, right.
And this one I didn't see, I left this too late. I didn't have time to get all this. So we've got collaboration on cost reduction. This is important, you know, because in the real world, your managers always want you to cut costs. So what am I talking about? You know, the students are always complaining, oh, we don't have enough LAS data. Why doesn't SEG give us lots of LAS data? Well, you know, it costs a lot of money to get LAS data. And so we said to these teams, hey, look, you're all working the same area. How about we split these logs up and you go all digitize them and then share those logs? And so that's what you did. So actually you saved SEG quite a bit of money by doing this. You helped each other. And so this is an important thing. So, you know, congratulations on being able to work together, on being able to share. Very good job. Team management, okay, well, you know, anybody who's been primary point of contact knows that, you know, it can be tough to manage a team, get everybody motivated. And, you know, these are 2 teams that I would say were very well managed. I understand that Miss Hope Williams and Dr. Beadle would beat the students with rulers if they weren't getting their maps done in time. And Mr. Silas told them no shrimp etouffee until you finish that cross section, right? So anyway, but yeah, you guys did a very good job on the team management. Okay, most effective slide. I love this slide. And this is just, you know, it's all about concise communication when you've only got 12 slides or 15 minutes, whatever. And this is just very nice. I mean, here is a quick introductory overview that tells you they had a portfolio of 6 prospects. It tells you what the P50 area was, how deep it is, the recoverable reserves, and the piece of G. Very effective communication, instantaneous communication. So looks like second time around, Mr. Zeeby, you actually learned how to do some really good things, right? Yeah, no, great job for the whole team on that. Okay, now what about these human traits? See, we can beat all these technical skills into your head, but then, you know, you also need some human traits to be successful. And when people hire, they're looking for those, you know, because you can have a great technical person, but if they don't get on with people, if they're not working very hard, et cetera, they're not going to be that successful. So let's go through some of these things. Technical adaptability. So this is our West Indies team. Their prof, Mr. Dempel, is here with us. And this team, when COVID hit, you know, they were all nicely working their Petrel at the university. They had to go home. They couldn't do that anymore. So as Mr. Forrest knows, we always have a plan B here in Evolve. So it's like, don't worry, team, we have a plan B for you. You're going to work in Open Detect. And we basically got them set up. And so this team had to change platforms in mid-course. And they were spread, of course. They were working at home, and they just persevered, and they kept going and did a very good job. So technical adaptability. And, you know, that's as opposed to some people who tell you, well, I only work in product X. If I can't work in software platform X, I'm not doing the work, you know. Well, it's the opposite that you need in your career. So great job on that. Recognition for major effort. So this is our Malaysia team, our China team, and our Indonesia team. So of course, these are all the teams that were reporting to Dr. Cheng. You know, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was sending them coffee or something. But these teams, of course, in part because of the time zone differences, they were up all hours of the day and night. Miss Sasa here, I think she was working like 4 o'clock her time before her mid-project, or was it final project presentation? I can't remember which. But she really put out a lot of effort. Some of our China team, Mr. Uzona, you know, one time I was talking to him and I heard some noise in the back. I said, Mr. Uzona, what's that noise? He goes, it's my wife. She wants to know what I'm doing at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, just tell her you're talking to Jake from State Farm. And those of you who are in the US will know what that means, but he actually happened to know that commercial from television. But no, you guys, Mr. Sohail, you were there all the time. I think you attended every single Friday work session, etc. So thank you for doing that. You know, we appreciate you having done that. And again, I don't know what Dr. Cheng was doing. Like I say, probably sending you extra coffee or something. Consistency, you know, for us as organizers, you know, there's nothing we hate more than, oh, I haven't heard from the team in 3 weeks. It's like, what's going on? And so these are teams that were really consistent, which makes our lives a lot easier. So these are teams like, you know, they're going to show up every time. You know, they'll know where they're supposed to be, etc. So our Lafayette team, our Hassi Mustangs from Bumerdes, and again, our UTP Explorers, they ended up with Miss Shiba in Iran. She couldn't get access. I think she's on today. She couldn't get access to workstations, but my God, they kept going as a team, and you could always count on them to be present. Those are important skills to have. You know, managers want to be able to count on people. They don't want to chase them down. Calmest individual. Now, it's funny. I came up with this last year where we had someone actually from our Krakow team last year, and this person was always like really calm. His name's Peter. You know, you guys may know him in Krakow. Peter, you know, you got to get these maps in a week. Are you going to have those maps? Yes. That's it? Nothing else? No. Okay. And then, you know, you'd ask him another question. Hey, Mr. Forrest wants to talk to you about this. You know, have you done enough work? Are you ready to defend what you've done? Yes. So anyway, he was like the calmest individual. So thanks to Peter, we set up a new award. So here we go. Mr. Ian Cox. I don't know if he's around. So here we are, you know, I'm talking to Mr. Ali, and I think he's here. So Mr. Ali, you tell me you've loaded your own data, your wells are in the Gulf of Mexico, and your seismic is in Canada. I see. Okay, well, that could be an issue. So he was looking nervous there. And then there's Mr. Khalid. It's like, you haven't given me enough digital data for me to do my petrophysics. So he's looking nervous, Miss Sevi. But here's Mr. Ian Cox. He's just Mr. Calm. You know, he's not worried. We're going to get it done. And you know what? The team dดget it done. The team did have some challenges due to COVID, but they got through. So maybe Mr. Cox here was right to be calm, and maybe he helped the team along. But as I say, these are traits. You know, you want in a crisis, you want someone that will be calm. So it's not a joke here when we say some of these things. Persistence in the face of challenges. Well, this was a COVID year. You know, all sorts of challenges, and so of course. Our West Indies team, as we just talked about, had some challenges. OSU, you did have some challenges once you started to all separate out from the main base. Our Ibadan Mountaintop team and Mr. Chisholm and Mr. Elias and your team, some challenges, but you kept going. You got through to the end. You got your final presentations, so congratulations on that. Easy to work with. So you might say, well, that's another thing. We actually, last year, I think we called this the Most Cheerful Teams Award. And those two are very similar. Who would you rather work with? Someone who's always grumpy, someone who's always got a sour face, or someone who's smiling every time and cheerful? So these are the teams that were just always fun to work with. So, of course, Ms. Tayuba, of course, Mr. Andika, he always had his Starbucks coffee in hand. That's probably what kept him going. And he may have shared some of that coffee with that UTP and other teams. But yeah, you guys were always fun to work with. Our Rio team, you guys were always a lot of fun to work with. And our Mexico team, you were very easy to work with. There was only one hard thing. They put two twins on us, so we could never tell which twin was which. So I said, how do your parents tell you apart? And they said, well, I wear the brown shirt and he wears the white shirt. So now we kind of know Roberto and Alberto. Now we know, but that was hard. The rest, you guys were just a lot of fun to work with and so on. Training of others. I put this in specifically because, we're supported by Inveris here. They gave us access to software, a new platform. Well, most of us hadn't worked with that platform. Mr. Anez from the Boumerdis team, he learned it, and then he held a seminar on one of our Fearless Explorer Fridays, helped the rest of us to get up to speed. So good job on that. Most aggressive prospects. So, it's important that, we will not find new oil if we're not aggressive sometimes. And so I like to have this award. You could call this in some ways the riskiest prospect too. And that's why I showed this. Now, prospects always look great with color. You can see here on the right, once you take that color off, that's pretty tough, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to see what's going on in there, but I do believe this is a valid prospect. It's going to have a low piece of G, but as explorers, we've got to be open to things with low piece of G. So I think you guys did a good job on that in a very tough area with your one well, which was the only well ever drilled in the immediate area and which was dry. Okay, I love drawings. So, I insisted you guys draw cartoons, and at least Ms. Hannah Sparrow there from the Boise team, she took me up on that, and she did some cartoons, did a pretty nice job on that. And our Macarena team, very nice main pass cross-section drawn by hand. So if you can draw it, it shows this team understood the play concepts in main pass. He was able to draw it in his head. He didn't need his workstation. He didn't need to, run 10 workflows to find it. He explains it in one cartoon. Maybe took him 15 minutes to draw that. So very good job on that. Okay, this one was pretty easy. I mean, some of you did have very good prospect names, but like a full portfolio. So this was our Rock and Oil team. So this team was like a whole theme, right? So they probably had shirts to match the color scheme of their slides, if I had to guess, right? Miss Ava, you probably had shirts in these colors just to make sure you matched your slides. But anyway, this was great. You guys had a whole theme of rock and oil. And of course, you came up with all these creative names of songs. Well, some of these songs only people my generation would know. Oil on the Water. And some of the others. Wish You Drill Here for all you Pink Floyd fans. This is for your Deep Purple fans. Anyway, very creative prospect names. When you're starting to have fun is when you're getting good in this business, actually. So very good job on that. So all these, by the way, are about creativity, which is really important. Remember the pie chart. So very good job on that team. And by the way, I like that picture too. That's a really good picture, you guys. Strongest message. Now, I called it strongest message. You could say who gave the most forceful sales pitch. Now, Mr. Forrest doesn't like the word sales pitch. To me, sales is just communication. So if you're communicating, your ideas are in effect selling. But again, Mr. Alexander and his team, they were, pretty aggressive. So they're telling us, first of all, it doesn't matter if we're comfortable with the prospect. It's only if we're uncomfortable that it's going to be a profitable one. And by God, he's pointing his finger at us and telling us he wants our money. So that's a pretty strong investment message there. So I got a kick out of that one. And our Rio team here, they had this little animation that was like, does our prospect have this? Yes, check. So all the check marks were animated. And then at the right moment, they pull out a picture of a wallet and pretty much told us, get your wallet out, So anyway, but don't forget, this is about communication. You can do great technical work, but ultimately you'll only find oil if someone invests in your idea. So that's why that's a very important thing. So finally, what we call our grand prize, this was tough. There were a lot of good opportunities to pick teams, a lot of creative pictures, some really excellent execution. Some of them looked like they were almost done by a graphic design firm. But I think the Lord of the Rings, the U of H team, you guys really took this seriously. You photoshopped yourselves into the picture here. And yeah, I just think that was just a great picture, building off the Lord of the Rings and the return of the Taranaki Basin. So great opportunity to show your creative skills here. It takes a lot of that here. Okay, who wants to ask questions about that? We went through it very quickly. We're almost done here. So anybody, either from the mentors or maybe Mr. Forrest or any other mentors want to make any comments? Again, some of these were close calls, and we didn't attempt to show everything that every team did. Most of you had 2 or 3 other things we could have said things about.
Alan, I'd give credit to you for working day and night for the last week.
Well, again, it's been a lot of fun actually doing this. So yeah. Who else? Anybody else? Any mentors want to make any comments here? Because let's see what's next on the agenda. We have actually 2 videos that are going to go next.
No, just a comment to emphasize what you said. You know, have fun while you do these. Have passion, and if you enjoy what you're doing, no matter how hard it is, it's so much better. So.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move to, you're all waiting for Project X, right? You've all worked hard on Project X. We're going to delay you just a little bit more because we did get Jesus, a couple of unsolicited videos from the teams, right? And
yeah, we'll be showing one, but yeah, let me go ahead.
Stop share here. I'm going to let you share.
I want to point out everyone can turn their cameras on now. And yeah, thank you for that, because we were able to see you come up for your award.
السلام عليكم، أنا اسمي ندى محمود أبو
Make sure it's loud.
جامعة عين شمس جي فيزيكس ديبارتمنت سايزميك ميجر.
أنا اسمي أنس تيزيد، أنا تيم ليدر تاع ساق بومرداس.
Mi nombre es Iván.
Hola, mi nombre es Roberto. Mi nombre es Alberto y de parte de Dino Rangers Team México.
Salamlar, benim adım Teyyubadir.
My name is Stevie. I'm a biologist. My name is Marego Michael from the University of Science and Technology of China.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Nur Indestiawati. Saya dari Indonesia.
Saya Coklat dari Indonesia.
Saya Salsa dari Universitas Indonesia.
الفيديو ده احنا عاملينه بكل لغات المشاركين علشان نشكر all the mentors.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Mr. Jesus.
Mr. Mike Forrest.
Mr. Mario.
А також інші організатори змагань Evolve.
And all the mentors, thank you so much. شكرا جزيلا.
In my language we say emaila.
Terima kasih.
Grazie mille.
Terima kasih.
Anyway, that's to the mentors. So I don't know if any of the mentors have anything they want to say. Okay, get the thumbs up. Okay, so let's just see. I think we're coming to the moment of truth, Jesus, right? Project X, right? You guys, now everybody knows what Project X is. I don't know about the audience. I mean, I guess we will tell you that we requested the teams work with us on a coordinated dancing exercise, which was based around a piece of music called Happy, which is a very well-known piece of music. So we've had, I learned my geography of the world by going, if I want to find out what, we'll pick a country, Nigeria is like, I just go to YouTube, Happy Nigeria, and bang, I understand what things are like, or Happy St. Croix, or Venezuela, whatever. So that's how I learned my geography of the world. And I thought, well, we need a Happy Evolve. We tried to do this, ZB, you may remember, in 2018, it just got so busy. But this year we got it done. So I think, Jesus, you're ready. And I will tell you, by the way, this was done, we were filming like 2-3 days ago, some of us. And so we're going to call this version 1. If we've left anybody out, if we have a blooper in there, let us know. We will have a version 2 that we will then be officially rolling out. So Jesus, I guess, run the tape.
Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Full screen.
I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's great for this time. COVID can't stop it. I think that's fabulous. So congratulations to everyone.
It might seem
along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
All right. Well, I think
Great.
big round of applause for our producer, Mr. Mario. And he was working under a crunch, and like I said, for a version 1.0, I think you did an outstanding job. So just congratulations. I guess Miss Sarah here says, nice moves, everybody. And what else? Yeah. So I think, you know, the next step is going to be champagne, but I see a few people say they want to say something. So Ms. Rana, you said you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to like show how much I appreciated to this program, because I didn't have a chance to talk with you because I'm having classes during the event right now. Really, really thank you, Mr. Allen. Thank you, all the mentors, for really big opportunity that you have given to us. It was really, really fruitful, and we have benefited a lot from this program. Actually, this is the most educational program that I gained experience from during the last 3 years I had in the experience. So thank you so much for your patience and for your kindness and for everything and you for collaboration with us and teaching us lots of great stuff. Really, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Ms. Rana. I hope to see you in Paris before too long, as soon as I can travel.
Oh, I'm staying here like 2 years. Hopefully I can see you soon.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we'll be traveling before 2 years, yeah.
Oh, yes. Hopefully. Thank you.
Scott Gorham, oh, well, I see my friend Scott Gorham. You know, it's a small industry. Scott and I shared an office, the two of us. He was most recently exploration manager at Seneca Resources. I will tell you, he and John Castagna and I shared an office, and I always like to say, we all took the same courses. We were in the same office. We did everything together, and two of us became famous and successful, John and Scott. Oh, well. Thanks, Scott, for being here. Great to have you. Who else? Let's see, what else? Anybody? I mean, I'm looking at some of the comments. I don't know. Thanks a million to our mentors.
Can I say a word? Yeah.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so we want to thank Dr. Ato. During the COVID, he was just available to support us because, COVID hit us here first in China, and it was like, there was no need continuing with Evolve, actually. What the heck? We're all going to die. It looks as though death has come to China. The world is free. Students, we are just leaving China anyhow. We actually thought of leaving. And then I told my wife, I have 2 kids. They're not going to be able to wear masks. How am I going to put them through living, in that period? So, but he was there to encourage us and tell us, yeah, I mean, just be safe and walk safe and all of that. And it was really a wonderful experience. Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Ato. And thank you all the mentors. Thank you, Mr. Allen. Thank you, everybody. It's like a family. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to working with you more and more. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sona. I mean, as I said, going through, you guys were hit the first and hardest, and you really showed the perseverance going through, and I think everybody's going through that. This is give me a lot of pleasure to see all these young people doing all these great things.
Well, one thing we'll do is we'll have a toast, a champagne toast. So we asked everybody to try and get some champagne. And maybe what we'll do is we'll have the toast. Then we'll do kind of a closeout, but we can all stay in the Evolve in the room for continuing discussion and music, if someone wants to select the music. So before we do that, Jesus is going to roll just at the beginning of one more video. You see, I try and teach you guys culture. By the way, did anybody figure out what the music was for the procession? If anybody's from my generation, yeah, see, Dr. Dempel knows what it is, right? So a few of us knew what that music was. It was from a TV series that was shown in the UK in the 60s called Thunderbirds, the original one, not the remake movies and all that. But now I'm going to show you something else, a very famous actress and a very famous series in the UK. And we'll see if anybody can type in, what's the name of the actress? Unfortunately, she just passed away a couple of weeks ago. So since we're doing the champagne toast, Jesus, run the credits here, or the... So if you have time, Terrell, do you know that series? Yeah, yeah. See, we've got at least one or two cultured people here in this room. So let's see. I'm just doing my thing here with the. Actually, it doesn't show up very well in this background, but let me get this thing off. Okay. Let's pour some. I don't know if not visible, but whatever.
A visible hand. A visible hand. There we go.
All right, there we go. You can use champagne or any drink of your choice. This is my wife, by the way, here, kind of coming in.
This is very convenient with my wine fridge right behind me.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why. I guess the Mario, you gave me a bad background. It doesn't show the champagne. But anyway, let's have a toast to all of you, the students. You know, you did do a great job. You learned a lot. You've met people. And remember, we all cross paths in our career. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of all the times we're going to cross paths and work together and so on. So big toast to you. And I'll also have the first toast. Somebody else can say another toast too if they want. So cheers. Congratulations to everyone.
Congratulations, everyone. You guys did a fabulous job this year and you persevered through everything. So good job.
Yeah. Cheers to everyone, and this is just the beginning. So I'd like to toast to the future.
Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that background. It's not very good. So, yeah.
Add some more.
There we go. Sure.
Congratulations, everyone. Really enjoyed it. Alan, when you make version 2 of that Project X video, you know what? When we first came out on you guys dancing, you know what reminds me of is your friend of mine, John Castagna. When he was young, he actually one of his favorite movie was Saturday Night Fever. Remember that? He always thinks, yeah.
Well, we'll have to put him out there. George Brown.
Yeah, get Castagna to go dancing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, you know, really, Mario, I mean, you only came up with version 0.1, what, 48 hours ago, if that?
I was uploading all the videos 48 hours ago.
Yeah, so just the team, of course, many of the students left it to the last minute, of course. Of course, one of our mentors was the last minute picture, right?
The little animation. I do apologize, it was a little bit laggy because of Zoom. But the version that'll be on YouTube for everyone to see will definitely look a lot better. I want to thank everyone who sent their last video submissions, even through Zoom. I asked for anything and you gave me more than enough. So thank you for everyone. If anyone wants anything added, if you weren't there, just send me a video. Now you know exactly what we need.
Yeah, this is your last chance.
Great job.
This is truly your last chance to be part of that video.
I'll make a quick toast to all of the students and also look forward to next year and the following years this program evolves.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
Then I want to make a toast to all our mentors and the company sponsors. I think one of the greatest things I learned is giving back to the society. So we're really grateful. Cheers.
Okay. So Silas, yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, all of you have a special experience now, you know, and share it with others, with your peers who might not have had that experience. Help them.
I'll make one quick toast. I wish everybody in the job search over the next couple months in the industry and maybe even the next year the best of luck. And I hope we all find good jobs in the industry and get chances to collaborate down the road.
Yeah, let's drink to that. For sure.
That's
Yeah.
great, Joseph.
And again, be adaptable.
Well, I don't have a glass. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just.
I was going to say, cast your net wide. Most of the people you would talk with have no idea that they were going to be any of us were going to be where we are now, right? For those of you that don't know, I actually majored in nuclear physics, neutron particle scattering. Okay. And I ended up with a career in geophysics. So you have no idea, if you cast your net wide, where the kind of experiences you've gained will take you.
And, you know, the other thing, I think I had this discussion with Miss Nada, you know, you have to keep an open mind. You may think you're supposed to go in a certain track, and sometimes a door opens. And when a door opens, sometimes it means, well, it may not be what I had in mind, but maybe I should go where the door is opening to.
Okay, I wanted to say I don't have a glass of wine, unfortunately. I'm at school and I didn't know that we are going to do any champagne popping. I have my sanitizer here. So thank post COVID not stopping us. COVID could not stop us. We made it. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good job, everyone. Yeah.
I wanted to say toast for the collaboration of all of us because of Evolve, and whether it was online and we could not meet in the Houston town in the SCG annual meeting offline conference. Nevertheless, we are still here. We are all together, and I hope so we will be together after all these days, after all these events. And so thank you very much to all of you guys, to all of you folks. It's a great opportunity to work with all of you, to work with all of these mentors, and to all of with the students. Thank you very much. Yeah. Toast. Cheers.
To you, yeah. And Mario, are we supposed to be signing off of the YouTube recording now, or?
Well, this is still part of the celebration. There's actually we had more people interested in this part. More people started watching the celebration at the end.
More people are watching on YouTube now?
Yeah, a little couple extra five just joined for some reason.
Well, then I guess we keep rolling, right?
Yeah. So I do have a toast. I want to thank everyone for what you all taught me. I know you'll look at me as a mentor, but in reality, I am learning things 5 minutes before I teach them to you when you ask me how to do something. So between all your questions and all the different things that we need to figure out, I have learned a lot by the end of this year. So thank you.
Hi all, I also want to say thank you all for this great experience. And I also would like to say that all the time I have been participating in Evolve. I have my military service. As you say, I'm here in the military. So it was just a great experience for me for having this time management between my service here and working in the Evolve 2020. Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do, Ali.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, Mr. Allen. Can I say something?
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say thank you to all of the sponsors, mentors, and I just wish to SCG Evolve the further development and more participants, more and more teams, and make it a really worldwide competition. Not a competition, I mean, just a program. So yeah, for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I think Mr. Forrest is going to use that in his foundation money raising speech.
Yes, I am going to do that. Anyway, so I just I need to sign off now. It's way past my bedtime in Singapore.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for all your
but I just want to, before I sign off, I just really want to especially thank you, Ellen, and Mike to put in the effort to make this a huge success these days. So I really appreciate it, the two of you. You know, your money and your effort.
Thank you for all your efforts. Yeah, we'll let you get some sleep now.
Yeah, okay,
Arthur.
get some sleep.
Yeah, Arthur, and a toast to you as one of the people who have given back over many, many years to the society and to the profession. So thank you to you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
thank you, CB, for not letting me be the only one with a beer. Everyone else got champagne, and the Russians got vodka out.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I stuck with beer for now.
That's a big beard too, by the way. It's good.
I've learned over the years, there's two places you have to be very careful about in your toasts. Well, one of them was China, because Dr. Feng just left. And I think you know that they have like endless toasts. So what they do is, you sit around the round tables, and the first thing is the person, right, the main person who invited you does 3 toasts with you. And after that, they go around the room, or around that circular table. So everyone in the table is doing toasts. So by the end of the evening, you've done about 15 toasts. Now, the other place is Russia. I've gone to Russia and done toasts, and those toasts go on, and there's a lot of toasts, right? Russia team?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I will say they have many more different types of vodka than you can find in the U.S.
That's true.
True.
Well, funnily enough, one of the team members, Ms. Smirnova, I did ask her if she was related to a rich family that makes vodka, but it turns out, because, we have the Smirnoff vodka. Turns out it's not. So never mind. And I see we have Mr. Gordon Holmes, who was here at a lot of the different meetings and things. So thank you for being here today. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone for their hard work. I hope the students have learned tenacity and the adventure of exploration and the adventure of your careers going forward. And again, thanks to all the mentors, Alan and Mike, to all the hard work, for all the Houston-based people who held off so late in the morning for their first drink. And Mario, I think you win the dancing award. We'll give you the BTS award for the video and your dancing in front of the stadium. So congratulations, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gordon.
And I must run, but thank you.
Yeah, and say hi to Shazia for us. Thanks for what she did too.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
So we did have a lot of people that never turned their cameras on. So I don't know if any of you want to say a few words. I know we have a couple of very strong participants. If you'll want to say something. If not, thank you for being here. I've been cycling back and forth just so that I can record all you guys being here, because all of us together is what makes this a very special program. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to everybody. Congratulations for everybody, for the mentors, and of course for the members of the executive board, all the teams. And again, congratulations.
And thank you for joining us. Thank you for the talk you gave, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Congratulations, by the way, to everybody again. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to say it would be remiss of me if I didn't thank Mike and Alan for the opportunity for the university in Trinidad and Tobago, St. Augustine campus, to be part of this wonderful program. You guys are incredible in your work ethic and your stewardship of the program. I wish you well and COVID-free. Take care and greetings again from Trinidad and Tobago.
And say hi to the rest of the team, Paul and everybody else.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Sohail. I just wanted to thank everybody, especially the mentors, and sponsors, and Mr. Alan, Jesus, and Mario, and especially my team who is also here, Mr. J, Ms. Shiba, and also for the first time, our advisor is also here. I invited him and he just asked me, where is your champagne? So I asked him, I just drank water. So thanks everybody. It was a wonderful learning experience, and we made friendships and learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to say something that I really love to work with you guys and in such a diverse environment, and it's really empowered me in some way. Thank you.
I also wanted to say thank you from our team to all the mentors and people who supported us. It was a great experience.
Also from Perugia, we would like to say a big thanks to all the mentors and sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Allen, Mr. Mike, and Jesus, and everyone for working a lot with us and tolerating us and helping us throughout everything. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. You guys were a good team. And I was going to ask Ms. Bianca, am I imagining it, or are you celebrating the end of Evolve by cutting your hair? Or
Oh no, it's just like put up in a
okay.
knot back there, but I can let it down again if you want.
For a moment, I thought that was a drastic move, you know, because we just saw your
No,
long
no.
hair in the video. Okay, it's still there. Good.
It's still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, senior from Moscow team, I want to thank everybody and mentors and teams. Wolf is a really comprehensive program. We loved so much. Technical skills, soft skills, and also I even learned to edit videos because, as for me, it was my biggest fear that someday I will have to do this. And now I also learned to edit videos.
Okay. Well, cheers. Thank you. I hope I'll see you in Moscow one of these days, or I know your town's a bit farther away from Moscow, but anyway, hope to see you over there.
I will congratulate you on that video because that definitely was one of the few. You did your own transitions in between the team and you took us inside that building. And we definitely felt there. So that was really nice.
Hi, everyone. I just also like to thank Mr. Allen and Mike and Jesus and Mario and all the mentors for all the assistance that we received. It was truly a great program. One of the things that I appreciated most is that the mentors and the technical coordinators, they didn't hold back with the information that they had. They gave 100% to us, and we learned a lot, and we really appreciate that because you know, sometimes we think that we hold power when we don't share everything that we know, but the only way to really be indispensable is to make yourself dispensable. And so I appreciate that from all of the mentors and even Mario and Jesus. So thanks so much for that from the University of the West Indies team.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, thanks for being
Thank you very much.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I want to also take a chance and first of all, thank for all the organizers, mentors, and sponsors of the Evolve. And I also want to take a chance and thank my team for working hard, even though we worked in like whole different places in the world, but we still did it. And maybe somebody had some hesitations about how we're gonna do it and what will be our workflow, but we still did it. So cheers to you. Thank you, Evolve.
Yeah. I think you guys, you and Artie did a great job on those moves on the dancing.
Yeah, we had to wake up at like 5 a.m. in the morning to get the sunset.
Yeah, Mr. Allen, it was thanks to you after the last annual meeting in San Antonio where we first have met everyone.
Remember, I have the pictures of you and me, and both of you and me, right?
We still really want to see this video from the dancing.
Yeah, we hope that we will.
We want to see it.
I think Jesus and Mario are the ones that have the official footage there. So
yeah, they're somewhere in the files. We can get them.
So I just wanted to say that when the pandemic first hit the world, I didn't think that Evolve program is going to continue, but luckily it did, and we managed to make it happen, and we managed to get it done. So congratulations to all the participants, and thank you to all the organizers. And I really hope that maybe next year or maybe some other year, some other time, we will meet in person, not on Zoom. But anyhow, thanks, and we are happy. The Krakow team is happy to participate in this virtual annual meeting. So toast to all of you and cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
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 So that's part of the lessons, right? And it's always easy to give up, but it's much more rewarding to persevere. So well done, all of you, actually.
Well, what we ended up doing, of course, was once COVID hit, then we just went to basically open office hours the entire time because we had to implement all these different solutions for different places. And so we just went from, one morning a week to just like anytime, we're open office hours. And I think that helped.
Yeah, thank you, Alan, to you and Jesus and Mario for that you continued throughout all that time and were available to everybody. I think that really helped make it go and continued to make it happen through the pandemic. So you guys did a really great job of supporting everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll just say quickly, yeah, I was concerned myself. We didn't know what was going to happen. And of course, there was always a thought of, what if the program has to be canceled? But, we kept going, we adapted to the situation. And I think this is actually one of the most successful years we've had in terms of teams and participation. And, even though we had to migrate softwares and teach new softwares to various teams, I think we did a fantastic job in the end. So congratulations to all the teams. And I think, you got to remember, you have to adapt to every situation. I think back to when I first started in 18 with Mr. Allen. And I'd say I graduated from university and I thought I knew a lot, but it turns out that I didn't know anything at that time. But now I can happily say that I know something. So, and in terms of careers and all that, you never know where you're going to end up. Graduating from university, I didn't know I was going to be here in front of 60 people and all these mentors with many years of experience, and then teaching and exploration. I figured I'd be at a job, 9-to-5 job, at a company. But no, I'm teaching you guys, and it's a fantastic experience. So you just learn to adapt, and thank you all.
Congratulations! Now you have a 24-hour job all around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, 9-to-5 jobs do have their advantages, and other kinds of jobs have some advantages too. And yeah, over your career, again, I predict most of you are going to do several things in your career. You won't just work in one company like some people got to do. So, since we're talking,
Right.
then, and I guess we're just in informal mode. I do have to share one more slide here, which is, let's just see, I've got a share screen. Mr. Forrest will know what I'm talking about. So anyway, here's the key, right? Am I sharing?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So
Yes.
always have plan B.
Yep.
And that's the key. The things don't always go as you hope, and always have plan B, and maybe even more than plan B. And COVID, well, whatever. We had to go down several letters in the plans to get through it. But
Yeah,
that's the key. Things rarely go out as you hope, as you expect. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I joke with Alan, plan X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
be
right.
prepared for the unexpected, and be prepared to adapt. Very few things go exactly along your original plan.
Yeah, and that's not just in the kind of work that we did for here. That comes in actually the execution too. You drill a well, the pipe gets stuck. Now what? You go to log a well and the tool didn't work. So there's always unexpected things that pop up, and having plan B and C and X, Y, Z is a good way to approach many things in life.
Yep. I learned really recently last year what a fish was.
Oh.
I was scanning diagrams for another company, and like, what is a fish? And then they taught me, yeah, no, the piece of the the drill just broke and now we're deviating. I'm like, oh, so these things just happen every time. And there's even businesses that just focus on recovering that thing that fell out. Or you have to just find different solutions. Either you recover that, you just keep drilling somewhere else. So this industry is kind of built upon failures and success every single time, and just learning how to improve from them and how to just um, sidetrack whatever direction you're going and still get to your target, even though it's not the same solution you're planning up at the beginning. So, and I would like to make also a thank you and announcement for everyone. This year also brought upon the creation of SCG Evolve YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And because of all of you sharing and making all those, making everyone aware of where we were and that we are over here and with these new spaces, we have around 500 LinkedIn followers now, 800 on Facebook, nearly 500 on YouTube. So this really helps us out and helps you out for everyone to understand what Evolve is. So next time in the future, you don't have to explain what Evolve is. You just say, I was in Evolve, and everyone will be like, I know what that is. You're one of the best candidates out there. Let me go get you a job. So that presence everywhere, you guys helped it, and thank you, because all of this has just been recorded just for be strong message for the next people that came after. They're gonna come after you, so we can just continue to do better. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think Alan alluded to something earlier, but we do get, all of us mentors and Alan, we do get calls from employers who someone has put on their resume or their job application, they participate in Evolve. And we get calls from those people saying, hey, what do you remember about this person? How did they do? What were their strengths? So, you know, you do have a special award having completed this course and or having completed this event. And it is to your advantage, and people do take it into account and are starting to really recognize it. So,
yeah. And maybe one quick thing, Mario. You know, this video, when we come out with the final version, I'd like to see, maybe with all the people here, what do we need to do to make that go viral, quote, at least for our industry? It's not going to be millions of views, but how can we make this go viral, and can everybody here help us achieve that?
Well, yeah, I will post it on YouTube, where it's the best place to track those views. And
not
then
TikTok?
No TikTok. This video is too long for TikTok.
Okay.
And
well,
then
we'll just put Alan on TikTok.
There's the Alan part.
That might do it actually.
So yeah, I'm just gonna put it on YouTube, and we're gonna have an official share, an official post from SCG Evolve on the LinkedIn and on the Facebook, and if y'all can share that and make it kind of just go viral and everyone just knows about this video. If this is a new way to bring people aware of us, then that'll be fantastic. And
yeah, you might have a challenge with Facebook and using the song "Happy" because they tend to take the song off because it's copyrighted. But you'll figure that out better than me.
Oh, I have learned a lot about that. Actually, when you upload to YouTube, you haven't finished uploading before YouTube tells you, "Hey, this is copyrighted. It will have ads, and you're not getting the money. Pharrell Williams is gonna get this money." And I'm like, I haven't even finished uploading the video, but great. As long as we can have the video up, I'm good.
Yep.
And actually, you know, this is interesting because the first year when we talked about doing this, actually one of the major challenges, in all honesty, was SEG, because they were concerned about the copyright and SEG might get sued and this and that. And then, you know, with Mario, we talked about it, and he said, well, all that's going to happen is someone else is going to make the money, the person who made the song. I said, hey, I don't care. I mean,
right.
Made the song, they can make the money. And yes, they'll put ads, and we'll see. But, you know, they'll do homework to know what, there'll probably be ads for drilling companies and things. Who knows? But anyway, so that was a key change between the first year, where there was a lot of fear about legal implications. And I think Mario's allayed our fears on that. Now, if I'm in jail next month, you'll know what happened. He wasn't right. But
We haven't, by the way, Alan, in the commercial side, we could start talking about the difference between royalty agreements and joint ventures, et cetera, which are different in different places in the world and have different kinds of structures. But we'll leave that for another Evolve class.
That sounds like a perfect class for our Fearless First Fridays. Up on YouTube, almost every Friday.
Oh, if you want, I can give a talk on the difference between the two, just a very brief one. But yeah.
Sure.
We would love it.
That would be good. Yeah.
It's
Again,
hard to understand those numbers and percentages and risk if anything was to actually, if someone was to get sued and the whole thing just spills. Like, so what now?
I do think we include experiences here that you can't get anywhere else. I mean, either we talk in a direct manner about things, we just tell it like it is, and then I think some of these experiences, like what you're talking about, maybe courses on certain aspects of the business. Yeah, that's not out there a lot. I think it's kind of unique to what we're doing. I think Miss Sarah sent us a note, and yeah, a lot of notes. Thank you to everybody for your notes here in the chat.
And somehow still 18 people are watching us on YouTube, but I don't know if you wanted to just post it out, Mr. Allen, and just stay here with us. I think all of the good messages have been said.
Well, yeah, I think maybe for the YouTube, yeah, we can, we'll just have a closeout on YouTube. And so I think what we need to say is thank you to all of those on YouTube who participated in this event. We got some great students that are coming out. If you're looking to hire people, where some of the good students are. And yeah, keep up with us and Evolve, support Evolve, so there'll be more teams. And thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Everyone say goodbye.